Hello everybody and welcome to round 4 of the 2022 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. We are here at the popular Autodromo Internacional do Algarve in Portimao for the Portimao ePrix here in Portugal. The first of 2 races here in Portugal and the first European race of the season for Formula E. I'm JW97 and I'm joined today by F2 commentator Rob.
Hello, good to see you everybody.
Indeed, and you would have briefly just seen the weather there on your screen. We have got rain for this session, and it looks like it's going to be intermediate conditions, though, judging from the color palette that was on the graph there. But yes, we have got wet weather, so who knows really? Could there be a mixed-up grid for this one, or could it be just the usual order? Because it looks like this wet weather is going to stay throughout the session, of course.
Of course, it can improve or get worse, and if it gets worse, that would be a bad omen for a lot of drivers, because it would mean the first laps would be pivotal.
Indeed, and it will be interesting to see how on earth it will pan out, of course, especially considering the mistake rate we've got in qualifying as well. We could see quite a lot of mistakes today, especially with a lot of aquaplaning around here as well. Yuri has said that the conditions could get better as the session progresses, but we shall wait and see, of course, as we wait for the first car to go out on track. And it looks like it's going to be, I think it's a Venturi that's going to go out on track first of all. Judging
Which
from
one is it? It's Brachy.
just Brachy, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe, yes, I think they are. Just trying. Yes, they have. I've just worked it out. Of course, for anybody who's not aware, of course, Venturi and Audi had their numbers the wrong way around. But as you can see, they've now been fixed. So Brachy now has the correct number and should be the correct 3-letter prefix on his car. So
All right,
that's all good there. And I think it's the same for the Audi as well. And so look forward to that. As Brachy just goes out of the turn 4 there. And already looked like he was tippy-toeing his way coming out of that turn there. Obviously, of course, for anybody who's not familiar with the Formula E series, only 13 cars go out at a time, and that's just to avoid a little pit lane glitch that these cars can sometimes have when 22 cars are out on track at the same time. But just going back to the last race in Miami, it was a very interesting race, it's fair to say. Obviously, Daniel Adventure taking the victory in the end, but yeah, quite a lot was going on throughout the field there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a hectic race as expected for Dodge Island.
Yeah, indeed, and of course with Daniel Adventure's victory, it left him up into second place in the Driver Championship behind Jaswant Kumar, who had a disastrous Miami race. Didn't even get to the first corner before he even crashed out there. Crashed out with Shauna Choi, who it's fair to say this season, she's been very unlucky. She's been in points position so far this season, but things always end up going the wrong way for her.
Yeah, and it's a shorter season, so the impact of bad luck in one race is significantly greater.
Indeed, and obviously, including this race, we've got 6 races to go, of course, because it's only a 9-race championship, and it's going to be very interesting indeed to see if anybody can make up for lost time in Miami, of course, given that if they want to get in this fight, they've only got really 6 races to do it. Brachy is about to start his first flying lap in these conditions, as he just crosses the line now then in the Venturis. He'll now make his way down towards the first corner now. Then this is usually where we see most of the overtaking being done across all the series that race around here, not just Formula E, of course. We also have the top class, of course, the races here, and they'll be coming here later on in the season, and of course DTM races here as well. So that's also quite so yeah, that's usually where most of the overtaking is. Sometimes you can get some overtakes into this hairpin, although it is a smaller percentage than what we see down at turn 1. So obviously it'll be interesting to see if anybody is going to risk a move in Formula E this week as well. I don't remember there being many overtakes for Formula E drivers down to this corner in the past, but that might change. A 31.975 for Brachy in the first sector there, as he just tippy-toed his way out of the hairpin, and now making his way up towards turn 7 he will go, before making his way towards Samsung corner now then, and it's quite a tricky corner to get out of the exit really, because of course once you come out the corner, you're already going downhill. Of course, this track is nicknamed the roller coaster, of course, due to the amount of undulation there is, as we go through Craig Jones Corner, named after the motorcycle racer, as now coming around the self-named Portimao Corner. Very creative name, I must say. But now heading down towards turn number 12 we go, as he will now, as Brachy does a 116.046 in the middle sector, and now coming around turn 13. We shall go before making his way down towards the penultimate turn of turns 14, the Sagres corner. And now it will come towards the final corner of turn 15, the Galp corner. And he will take him back onto the pit straight. Now I wonder what sort of lap time he's going to be able to do in these conditions, heading through the final turn. And now onto the pit straight will go the Polish driver, who so far he and Coach Chun Cheong have had an amazing season since Venturi became a Group 2 car. Across the line at 154.151, Razin goes into second place, 5 tenths off there, so not the best first lap for Razin. Here comes Cesar Cohen Jr. across the line, and he will go into third position. Bella Nuaville in a Neo car. Let's see what she can manage. She will now cross the line, and this is looking like a good time for her, and she goes into second place, 1 tenth off of Bracky, as Coach Chun Cheong goes quicker than his teammate by 7 tenths of a second with a 153.379. Dominic Ticelli across the line goes the Italian, and he goes into fourth position, 1.2 seconds off. Cass Morgan now then in the Mahindra. He's now coming across the line, and he goes into sixth position. Marvo Koenig goes seventh. Rafael Demel in the Virgin crosses the line, goes into third. Owen Carpenter across the line, he goes second at the moment. Daniel Aventure goes to the third. Ionescu goes onto the front row in second place. Jacob Stepnika comes across the line, and he goes second, so he takes the front row slot off of Ionescu. And there the first lap's done with the Venturi of Coach Chun Cheong at the top of the timing screens. Now, of course, last season here at Portimao, it was a Group 2 car that won here, and so far it's a Group 2 car that's currently at the top of the standings.
Yeah, so it seems for the time being. Of course, the track is difficult enough in the dry, but in the wet, it's a whole different challenge.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, we've still got 9 drivers to still yet to do a time, so it'll be interesting to see how they will fare, including Brandon Jackson in the second Audi, as Bracky just making his way out of the left-hander there before making his way into the final couple of corners. He will go now, then through the right-hander goes Bracky, as he will now go into the pits very soon. And obviously taking a little bit of a while around there because of how tricky the conditions are. I do wonder if we're going to get these sorts of conditions when we get into the race, of course. That's obviously going to be something quite interesting to keep an eye on there as Bracky makes his way back into the pits there. And I wonder if he will join the 9 drivers yet to do a time a little bit later on, if he'd be one of the drivers that's going to join them, because usually 4 drivers who have already set a time go out for the second runs. So we shall see, of course, as Bracky pulls into the garage there, as everybody else will also be making their way into the pits very, very soon indeed. But yeah, so a very impressive first lap there for Coach Chun Cheong as Cesar Cohen Jr. makes his way into the pits. And well, we might as well touch upon something that somebody actually noticed about at the Miami ePrix, because you may have noticed that at the last race in Miami, Nguyen and I think it was Cohen were actually placed in the other way around. Cohen was classed as 16th and Nguyen was classed in 17th, when that wasn't the case at all. For some reason, the game read that wrong for some reason, because we saw on the graphic Nguyen was ahead of Cohen before Nguyen retired from the race. So I've no idea why the game did that, to be honest with you. But either way, we've amended the problem, which is why Nguyen is actually ahead of Cesar Cohen Jr. in the championship and not the other way around as originally thought. But
Not like it matters much anyway.
Yeah, not too much anyway. But yeah, it's a bit of a rare glitch, really. I've never really seen that before, really, with Grand Prix 4. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that. But yeah, bit of a strange one, that.
Yeah, looks like Brandon Jackson is getting ready to go out on track soon.
Indeed, and of course he's still yet to set a lap time along with 8 other drivers as well, so he is expected to be out on the track very soon, as we have just over 21 minutes to go in this qualifying session to determine the grid for the Portimao ePrix a little bit later on, as we wait to see who's going to go out on track next of all, as the Audi will be getting out very soon, and just trying to keep an eye on anything else happening down at the bottom, because of course we're at the top end of the garages at the moment with Audi at this stage, and obviously somehow the rain is actually getting through into the garages, as we've got some movement as Kochi Cheong in the Andretti is going out onto the racetrack, and we're going to be out. We're not going to be on board with the drivers this time, but we're going to be off board usually for this occasion. But Kochi Cheong going out on track first of all for this set of cars.
Let's see who else joins him.
Comes out onto the track, And well, we won't be able to know, of course, because obviously the only drivers are on the left-hand side are, of course, the drivers who have done the time. But Bracky, as mentioned, he is going to be one of those drivers that's going to join the drivers that haven't done a time yet, as Coach Chion just making his
Interesting.
way up the hill. I wonder which other three drivers are also going to join Bracky as well to do a second flying lap, as Kochi just making his way down towards the hairpin now. Then, of course, his brother is currently at the top of the timing screens at the moment, so he'll be looking to see if he can try and match that time from his brother. Also on track is Bella Nuaville in the Neo. She's gone back out for a second flying lap as well, as Kochi now then just making his way around the double right-hander. Adventure has also gone out onto the track in the Mercedes, and as has Cesar Cohen Jr. So they are the four who have already done a lap who's come out onto the track, and of course they're also joined by the 9 drivers who are still yet to do a time, including Kochi Cheong and of course Brandon Jackson as well. As the Malaysian driver just making his way around the Portimao corner now then. Usually in races, of course, we normally see the attacking drivers usually take a wider line through into that corner for some strange reason. Yeah, a little bit bizarre with this track, but that's kind of that really. As Kochi now then is going to start his lap very, very soon now then, as I think Rob will take us on a lap very, very soon if he doesn't mind. So now coming around the penultimate turn, and Kochi is going to start his lap very, very soon.
Okay,
So
back.
let's. So, if you don't mind, Rob, you can take us through a lap of Kochi if you want to.
Okay, sure. Not so sure I'll be able to commentate accurately these conditions because, of course, it's a different challenge in the way that is in the drive. But here we go, onto the front straight. The longest and biggest overtaking opportunity. You're going to take turn 1 Primera, which is quite fast in the dry, but it's a little bit slower in the wet. And he's got a little wide on exit, but you need to use all the track here. In towards Lagos we go, turn 3. And it's crucial to get up on the front look quickly and carry that speed through the left hand. They're very, very careful not to run wide, of course, on exit, because this corner invites you to run wide pretty much. As we go down the hill in towards Torrevip, in the first sector, he's currently 6 tenths down, Kong Jiacheng is. Into Torrevip we go, taking a nice and early apex, and then get back on the front once again for this uphill section. Through the left hand, there we go. Carrying all the speed you can. This corner is easy flat, even in the wet. But now we go for the double right hander in towards Samsung. Exit of Samsung is critical. You need to make sure you get the traction right and don't slide the car around. It's so easy to do. Take a little bit of curve for good measure as you go down the hill into Craig Joe's. Flat in the dry, not exactly flat in the wet. It is a challenge. In towards Portimao we go, the right hander, which is downhill. You have to be careful if you're braking. You don't want to overshoot and go losing a bunch of time, as he's exactly 1 second off his brother in the middle sector. As we go through the left-hander, we got yellow flag at Portimao. It's for Aveyard.
Yep, so that lap's been interrupted, and it looks like a driver error there for the Porsche driver. Let's see, yeah, you could just see, look, he was already aquaplaning going in, and it's just forced him out wide, and he just had no control over that as a result. So Aveyard's lap, his first flying lap, I should say, compromised as a result of this aquaplane.
I did say it's easy to overshoot here, and he's proven me right.
Indeed so. Whilst we were looking at that lap, of course, with Kochi Cheong, I did notice as well, whilst going down towards I think it's turn 5 if I'm not mistaken, that the sky was actually getting a little bit brighter. So, of course, Yuri mentioned that the conditions could get a little bit lighter later on, as Aveyard's having to wait for a gap in the traffic, of course. That's why we've got the yellows still out. That we could get some improved conditions toward the end of the session, but whether we will or not is another question.
Those are gone.
The yellows are gone. Aveyard has now been able to get the car going again. As now Kochi Cheong is now going to cross the line in the Andretti car. And where is he going to go? He goes into 11th position. As Nguyen Minh Quan crosses the line, he will go now then. The Vietnamese driver is going to place his Techeetah, goes into 3rd position. Not a bad effort for him. Bartosz Bracki across the line. He goes 2nd, so improves on his time. As Sana Choi across the line, she will go, and she goes into 8th position. Brandon Jackson goes 2nd, getting a little bit of slipstream there from Coach on there. Jacob Tobler across the line, he will go, and he slots into 13th position. Hoang Minh Nguyen in the 2nd Porsche, of course. His teammate making a mistake earlier on, and only 16th for him. Aveyard is going to be last, of course, because of that error he made up towards Portimao, and yep, 20th position. Bella Nuaville crossed the line, and she does not improve. She stays in 11th place. Adventure now to the top by 6 tenths of a second, a 152.743. So he now breaks into the 1 minute 52s as a result.
That was a mighty lap.
Cohen across the line goes into 10th. A good effort for him in the Mahindra. As now we look at Ross Denholm now. Then across the line he will go. The Sao Paulo ePrix winner goes 9th on this occasion. The championship leader Jaswant Kumar slots into second place, so he gets onto the front row. But yeah, good time there for Daniel Adventure.
Yes, indeed. He's definitely found some more pace in these conditions.
Of course, let's not forget, Adventure won the previous race at the Miami ePrix, so you could definitely say that he's carrying some momentum here into Portimao. And of course, he is now the nearest rival to Jaswant Kumar, with the gap between them being 6 points in the championship, with Jacob Stepnika, of course, Jaswant Kumar's teammate, a further point behind in third position. So very tight at the top of the standings at this stage. Jagu, of course, having a great start to the season, it is fair to say. Currently leading both championships at the moment. But clearly, Mercedes, just like last season, look to be in the fight again.
Yeah, indeed, but it's still early days, so plenty of things can change.
Especially given that Audi have not had the best of starts to the season, it's fair to say.
Nope, they definitely didn't have some good luck in Miami, and that's going to cost them. But I think they're approaching this weekend reinvigorated. They will be trying to get as good a result as possible.
Indeed, as Kochi Cheong is now back in the pits, currently lying down in 18th. It wasn't a great lap for him. As a result, 2 tenths off of Razin, who also didn't get a good lap either in the Mercedes, which is a bit embarrassing for him, given his teammate Adventure is currently at the top of the timing screens. Bracchi, meanwhile, again showing some good pace in that Venturi. The Venturi is currently 3rd and 5th at the moment, and yeah, they've done pretty well this season, it's fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only 5th in the championship, 10 points ahead of Andretti, I should say, and only 11 points behind Audi at the moment, who of course have had a tricky start to the season. Aviard, of course, still yet to get a representative time on the board in the Porsche after he made his mistake earlier on. And just to reiterate my point earlier on, you can see that the sky is definitely getting brighter on the track, and that's usually an indication that the conditions are definitely improving on this game. So we shall see if they do improve or not. Because, of course, as mentioned, Yuri said that he believes that the conditions could get better throughout the course of the session.
Of course, the later you set a lap in these improving conditions, the better your chances are.
Indeed so. And as now Cohen gets wheeled back into the garage now then in the Mahindra, as currently lying in 12th position at the moment, doing a good job in that car at the moment. His teammate Cass Morgan currently in 20th position. Koenig currently on the back row of the grid. So not just Kochi that's struggling, but the other Andretti, Marvo Koenig, seems to be struggling in these conditions. So far not a good quality there. I did see that somebody was coming out of the garage, and it's Cass Morgan. So his teammate Cohen currently up in 12th. I wonder if Cass Morgan can try and match that.
Well, we'll see.
Cass making his way out on the track now then, as he will be beginning his lap very, very soon now then, as he just comes around turns 2 and then he'll approach turn 3 very, very soon now then. And the sky getting brighter around the track. Morgan currently the only one on the track, but I can see some movement in the pit lane on the minimap on the right hand side there, as Koenig has come out onto the track for Andretti. There's 2 others that are moving, make that 3 of course. And who else has joined them on the track now then? Duhamel has joined them on the track, as has Dominic DiCelli as well. So 4 cars on track, make that 5, because Coach Chun Cheong has now made his way onto the track as well. As Cass Morgan now then just making his way through turns 7 and 8. He will soon approach now then in the Mahindra, with just under 13 minutes to go in this session. So we're just under 13 minutes to go. So we're just under 13 minutes to go whilst we wait for Cass Morgan to start his lap. This is what the leaderboard currently looks like then. Daniel Adventure at the top with Jaswant Kumar in 2nd. There is Coach Chun Cheong in 3rd, with Brandon Jackson 4th, Bartosz Bracchi in 5th, Jacob Stepnika in 6th, followed by Nguyen Minh Quan in 7th, followed by Robert Ionescu in 8th, Owen Carpenter in 9th, Ross Denholm is in 10th, with Sana Choi in 11th, then it is Cesar Cohen Jr. in 12th, followed by Rafael Duhamel in 13th, Bellanueville in 14th, Dominic DiCelli in 15th, Jacob Tobler is in 16th, with Mohamed Razan in 17th, Kochi Cheong is in 18th, with Hoang Minh Nguyen in 19th position, Cass Morgan in 20th, who we're riding on board with Niall, Marvo Koenig in 21st, and in 22nd and last currently is Leighton Aviard, thanks to a mistake he made up at Portimao, and he's up. It seems like he's elected, yes he has, to stay in the pits on this occasion, so we'll have to see him back out on track a little bit later on, as Cass Morgan is about to start his lap here for his second fly lap. just looking at the death panel on the top of your screen. This is his second flying lap that he is on. But the question is, can he match the pace of teammate Cesar Cohen Jr., of course, who is up in 12th position at the moment, who is 1.3 seconds, in fact, off of Daniel Adventure, the man currently at the top of the timing screens at the moment. As Cass Morgan makes his way through turn 3, he'll make his way up the hill. He'll obviously tippy-toe around here due to the conditions. Through turn 4, he will go, as now making his way onto the back straight now, then before making his way down towards turn 5, where the hotel is. The hotel is the thing over there, and he's up on his personal 5 turns per second. In fact, he's 1/10 down on Daniel Adventure, so we'll see if Morgan can keep this up for the remainder of the lap then, as he uses quite a bit of curb on the outside before making his way towards the double right-hander now then on the track, as through turn 7, now into the Samsung corner now then we'll go, and it's called Samsung because if you can see on the grandstands over there, it's got a load of Samsung sponsorship, as now heading down towards turn 9, the Craig Jones corner, and soon approaching Portimao, which is where Leighton Aviard made his error a little bit earlier on in qualifying. Through turn 10 and then into turn 11, a double corner Portimao is. Let's see what Morgan's middle sector is going to be like. 4/10 on Adventure, but 1.2 seconds up on his personal best. Is that down to the conditions, or is that just down to the fact that Morgan has got it dialed in on this lap now? Then the Mahindra driver,
I think it's a bit of both.
We shall see with the other drivers, of course, who are out there on a lap, as now coming around turn the penultimate corner now then we go, and the car easily very easy to unsettle the car through into there because it drops off quite easily through there, as now they come around the flat out final corner now. They're not sure if it is still flat out though in these conditions.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that as well, Rob. As anyway, now Cass Morgan across the line, and he goes into 3rd position. A good time there, 5/10 off. Koenig also up on his personal best. Currently on the back row of the grid at the moment is the German driver, as he now makes his way through the final turn now then, and onto the pit straight will go Koenig. Looks like he took that corner a lot quicker than what Morgan did, but it's let's see, Koenig now then across the line, he will go, and he goes into 3rd position, so he beats Morgan to the punch, and only 1/10 off of Adventure and 6 thousandths off of Jaswant Kumar. Here comes Rafael Demel now then in the Envision Virgin Racing car. He crosses the line and goes into 6th position, 4 for Dominic Tuccelli, so good time there. Coach Chun Cheong across the line, and he goes back to the top of the timing screens, a 152.521, so he goes as his brother goes top now. So Kochi Cheong now to the top. So it's a Cheong 1-2 at the moment, a 152.250. Owen Carpenter goes into 7th place. There goes Robert Ionescu, who's up on his personal best as well. Ionescu currently down in 14th position. The Romanian driver, can he go to the top of the timing screens? Across line, yes he can, a 151.585. I think the conditions are definitely improving. Jackson crosses the line, goes second. It's an Audi 1-2 now at the top of the timing screens. Jacob Tobler across the line, he goes, and he goes into 5th position, exactly a second off of Ionescu. 17th for him. Razan goes 10th, so he gets his Mercedes now into the top 10. Sana Chue in the Envision Virgin Racing car, also up on his personal best. So I do think the conditions are definitely improving here, Rob.
Absolutely right, Joe. And the people who've gone out on this run, if they go out again for the last run, they'll have a great chance.
Indeed, so Sana Chue now then just comes out of the final corner. Let's see what she can do, as the South Korean driver is going to cross the line and goes into 4th position, P4 for the Envision Virgin Racing car, and they are these ones done with, and it is currently an Audi 1-2 at this stage.
Looks like they finally decided to wake up.
Indeed, as Ionescu currently at the top of the timing screens, from Jackson in 2nd place at the moment now then. And
of course, Ionescu took 4 pole positions last season, so maybe he's starting to find his qualifying form once again.
And he is obviously desperate, of course, to get some form after what has been a tricky season, not just for himself, but his teammate Jackson as well, and he's desperate to get himself back into this title fight.
Well, he's only 20 points adrift of the leader, so a win here could definitely benefit Audi a long way.
Yep, championship leader Kumar currently in 8th place at the moment, as Cass Morgan gets wheeled back into the garage. As P13 at the moment, unlucky for some, but I think in the case of the Mahindra, they'll think that'll do for them at the moment. Whether we'll see him go out again, we shall wait and see, because we've still got just over 7 minutes to go, and the conditions are continuing to improve.
According to my arbitrary and biased opinion, can the conditions please get worse?
Who knows? But anyway, as now we have under 7 minutes to go now, then in this qualifying session to determine the grid for the Portimao ePrix here at, well, Portimao, as now Coach Chun Cheong now then gets wheeled back into the garage. Again, Venturi having a good qualifying session at the moment. Bracky down in 15th, but I would imagine as soon as he gets out on track, he should be able to improve in these conditions.
Certainly.
As the Neo is now back in the pits. That is Jacob Tobler, of course, the Czech driver. Currently sick for the moment, so doing a good job at this stage. Bella Nueville currently in 21st. And, of course, we are expecting Aviar to obviously make an improvement after his mistake earlier on. How far he can improve, though, that is another question as Tobler gets wheeled back into the garage now then in the Neo as we wait to see what is going to happen a little bit later on in this session. As obviously we've still got just over 6 minutes to go as the DS Cheetah now then is going out on track.
It's Quan.
And that is Nguyen Minh Quan who's making his way out onto the racetrack. Down in 17th place at the moment. Teammate Carpenter currently 12th at this stage.
Of course, he has the same family name as Hwang Nguyen. However, he decides to use the Asian order with the family name going first, unlike his compatriot.
Indeed. Obviously, that we leave that as a choice, of course, for anybody who lives in that part of the world. So,
so East Asia and Hungary, really, because Hungary uses that name order as well.
Yes, indeed. Like with Delebosh Daniel, of course, he prefers to be called Delebosh Daniel, so we obviously accept it that way. As coming out the hairpin, there goes Nguyen Minh Quan, as he'll be starting his lap soon. Also on the track is Cesar Cohen Jr., as is Bella Nueville now then, so 3 cars out on the track with just over 5 minutes to go. And I think you could tell, even from this angle, just how much the sky is getting brighter on the racetrack here at Portimao.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question is, will we get dry conditions for the race, though? That's going to be a very interesting question. There is still rain on this camera lens, as you can see. That's still pelting down, but it seems to have got lighter throughout the session.
Yeah.
As now Quan just going down the hill, preparing for his lap soon. As there's still 2 cars in the pit lane, as you can see on the mini-map there, so they still need to make their way out on track. As Nguyen Minh Quan just comes around the left-hander, and there is some movement now in the pit lane, so just one more car needing to come out of the garage now. Then as Quan comes around the penultimate corner, and now heading into the final corner will go Nguyen Minh Quan in the Cheetah car, as he will now make his way around the final turn, and he's now going to start his lap very soon, as the other car that was in the pit lane is now doing some movement. But I wonder if Quan is going to get held up by that car or not. I don't think he is. I think that car is too far away, so I think Quan will just get away. He's got enough of a gap, so I think Quan can just about get away with that one. So with the improving conditions, let's see what Quan is able to do. You can take turn 1 now a little bit more quicker now as a result. So now through into turn 2, and Quan making his way into the hairpin now. Then he will go of turn 3, and then up towards turn 4. He will go now then as the spray kicks up the back of the DS Cheetah now then. Out of the turn using a lot of curb on the exit. Let's see what Quan's first sector is like compared to Ionescu. He's 2 tenths down, but he's up on his personal best by 3 tenths of a second. So nearly 3 tenths down on Ionescu, but 3 tenths up on his personal best. Out of turn 5 he goes now then through turn 6, which is his little curve over here, and then into turn 7 and 8 he will soon go. Turn 8 of course being the Samsung corner. Now through turn 7, 8 we shall go up the hill, and then quickly making your way back down the hill as soon as you come off the corner now. Then down the hill through into the Craig Jones corner will go the Vietnamese driver. Through into the left-hander we go.
Free to go.
As now Quan, let's see what he can do as he goes around to turns 10 and 11 now. Then let's see what the middle sector is going to look like. And he's up on his personal best, but 1.2 seconds down on Ionescu. In fact, he may have lost a little bit of time on his personal best.
I think he gained a few hundreds.
Yeah, he's not really gained much, though, so not as much as I was anticipating there, to be honest with you. But let's see what Quan is able to do.
Also to note, Denholm and Nguyen have the same time. I only just noticed.
Yep, of course, Denholm set the time first, so that means he's ahead. But I would imagine that Denholm may be on an improvement, of course, with these conditions. But we shall see, unless he makes a mistake somewhere, which kind of wrecks that whole thought. But anyway, as now heading our way down the straight, and Quan goes into 8th position with that lap. Here comes Cesar Cohen Jr., 1.1 seconds down on Ionescu in the middle sector, but he's up on his personal best at the moment. Currently down in 20th is the Dominican Republic driver. As
looks like the top 4 aren't going to go out on track, so it could be interesting.
Yep, indeed, as my headphones are starting to die on me, so I will change that in between qualifying. So, in between qualifying the race, I should say. As Cohen now then, just coming down the hill, down the pit straight goes the Dominican Republic driver, as he will now cross the line, and where's he going to go? P7, so P7 for him, as now here comes Bella Neuville in the Neo, and where's she going to go? She goes into 5th position there, so 9 tenths off. Kumar goes into 3rd position, so gets back up into 3rd place.
Aveyard.
Aveyard now then across the line, and he goes into 6th, as Adventure also goes 6th. Stepnika across the line, what's he going to do? And he goes into 2nd place, splits the 2 Audis. As a result, Bodges Bracky, what can he do? In the Venturi, he goes 2nd now, so a good lap from him. Coach Chun Cheong across the line, he goes into 5th position. Cass Morgan across the line, he goes 4th as Ross Denholm goes to the top of the timing screens in the Nissan by 53 thousandths of a second, a 151.532 for Ross Denholm now then, the man who won the Sao Paulo ePrix earlier on in the season. Owen Carpenter now then also up on his personal best. These will be the final flying laps because we have only just under a minute left now then. Owen Carpenter now then through the final turn. He will go now then as he makes his way onto the pit straight now then. And Owen Carpenter, the Irishman, now then comes across the line and he goes into 12th position. Dominic
Grab the
Ticelli he is then. Of course, his teammate is at the top of the time sheet. He was up on Denham in the first sector, but lost time in the middle sector now then by 6 tenths. So I'm not expecting Ticelli to beat Denholm unless he can find something in the last sector. He goes 6th with that time then. So P6 for Dominic Ticelli. And is that everybody done with? Or
so.
is there... Let's have a look around, and yep, that is everybody done with. So right at the death, it is Ross Denholm who takes pole position for the Portimao ePrix. And, well, that was a very good final lap from the Scotsman there.
Yeah, he only just about took it away from Ionescu, who will have to sell for front row.
Yep, indeed, and Ionescu on the front row, of course. But, of course, the one tradition with this track, of course, Rob, is that we saw it, of course, in the top class. If you start in P3, you've got a good chance of maybe getting the lead. And, well, that could be something could be something that Bracky could be looking at there. I think that's how Dicelli got the lead last season, which enabled him to get the victory. But we shall see if the same could happen with Bracky. But here's the grid then. Denholm is in pole position with Robert Ionescu in 2nd place. Barches Bracky, an impressive third for him with Jacob Stepnika in 4th. Cass Morgan starts in 5th, a good effort for him with Dominic Dicelli in 6th position, followed by Brandon Jackson in 7th place. Then it is Coach Chun Cheong in 8th, Jaswant Kumar 9th with Kochi Cheong in 10th, followed by Shauna Chue in 11th. And you can do the rest, Rob.
Sure, Daniel Adventure struggling down in P12, followed by Owen Carpenter. And it is Leighton Aver at 14, followed by Bella Newerville. Jakub Topol at 16, followed by Cesar Cohen Jr., the Dominican driver. Nguyen Kwan is in 18, followed by Mark Koenig, once again struggling. Mohamed Razi in a very bad P20. Rafael Dubal 21st, and Huangmin Nguyen away a long way off the pace in 22nd.
Indeed. Right, we're going to take a brief pause for the moment. Of course, stick around because the race will also be on this stream. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go silent for the moment so I can prepare the tweet for Twitter. So stick around, guys. The race will be coming up very, very shortly.
Yep, indeed.
We've done the tweet. And, well, a very, very interesting session indeed there. Ross Denholm taking, as I've just double-checked, his first ever pole in the OC fraternity. But
Yep.
whether he can try and go for his second victory of the season is going to be a question. I mean, I think he'll be hoping he does today because, of course, the last couple of races have not fared well for him. Ever since his victory at Sao Paulo, things have not gone the way that he was hoping, really. But he's got a good chance to try and redeem himself, but I know he's going to have some competition behind, especially because given the slipstream that Bracky's going to have into the first corner, I expect him to be a challenger going into the first corner. Well, that's depending on the weather, of course. And I wouldn't rule out Ionescu to possibly try and get a jump on him into the first corner as well. So it's going to be a fascinating start to the race, I would think.
Yeah, it should be quite interesting. It's a long run down towards Termano, of course, and you can overtake in that corner. Though if you fail the overtake, you will lose a lot of time.
Yep, indeed. And of course, as
Kind of like
mentioned,
Hockenheim in a way.
Yep, indeed. And as I mentioned, of course, during qualifying, turn one is usually where we're probably going to be seeing most of the overtakes being done today with these cars. Maybe down at turn 5 if you're lucky, but we shall wait and see. As, of course, it's going to be interesting to see what Qmar can do from 9th position on the grid, the championship leader, of course. Down in 9th. Luckily, his nearest rival is outside of the top 10, clearly not getting a little bit caught out with the changeable conditions there, and starts outside of the top 10. But his teammate is ahead of him on the grid, and his teammate could have a chance to maybe take the lead in the championship if things go his way today, as we shall see, of course. So obviously, in regards to the team's championship, of course, going into this, Jaguar have a 16-point lead over Mercedes, who are a further 15 points ahead of Nissan in the championship, and then a further 13 ahead of Audi, and a further 11 ahead of Venturi, and a further 10 ahead of Andretti at the moment. They are the 6 teams at the moment, currently on double figures.
Yep.
4 of the teams are on single figures, and Mahindra is still the only team this season that is yet to score a point in 2022.
Yes, that's right.
And so, obviously, we're just waiting for Yuri to sort out the grid, of course, because, of course, with the mistake rate, of course, not only does Yuri have to change the mistake rate for that, he also has to change the grid because it can affect things on Grand Prix 4. So, yeah, that's that as we now wait for that to happen, of course. Still, at the moment, 6 drivers are still yet to score a point this season in 2022. That being Jacob Tobler, Nguyen Min Kwan, Cass Morgan, Sana Choi, Hoa Min Nguyen, and of course Cesar Cohen Jr. And so they'll be looking to see if they can get off the point scoring mark today here at Portimao. Of course, this is the first of 2 races in Portugal because, of course, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be heading off, of course, to Estoril for the Lisbon ePrix, and that usually also provides a very good race as well. So, yep, and then so that will obviously be something to look forward to. But, of course, we're here in Portimao for this week, so be interesting to see how that one fares, of course, as of course only 6 races remaining, including this one. Of course, it is a shortened calendar, 9 races this season we have in 2022, of course, for timing reasons on Yuri's end, and so
Yep.
really consistency is really going to be key, a lot more key than it has been in previous seasons, really, for Formula E. So
Yes, absolutely.
yep, as the dog commentator decides to bark in the background. So, as we wait now then for the race to start very soon. Of course, Denholm going into this, of course, I was talking about him earlier on about how the last couple of races are not fair. He goes into this 15 points behind Jaswant Kumar in the championship. I mean, if he wins today and Kumar and the Stepnika and Adventure have a bad race, then he could retake the lead in the championship, but we shall see. As we've got the grid now back up on our screens as we get set for 40 laps of action here at the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve. So for anybody who missed qualifying, this is what the grid looks like as we will go 4 by 4. So on pole position for the first ever time in his career, it is Ross Denholm in a Nissan, followed by Robert Ionescu in second place. Bartosz Bracchi starts in third with Jacob Stepnika in fourth.
Cass Morgan is in a very impressive P5, followed by Dominic De Celli. Then it is Brandon Jackson and Kwok Jun Chung.
And it is Jaswant Kumar in 9th position, followed by Kochi Cheong in 10th, and Isana Choi in 11th, followed by Daniel Adventure in 12th position.
Owen Carpenter is at 13th, followed by Leighton Aveyard. Then it is Bella Newerville and Jakub Tobola in the Neo.
It's Cesar Cohen Jr. in 17th, followed by Nguyen Minh Quan in 18th. Marvo Koenig is in 19th, with Mohamed Razan in 20th. And on the back row of the grid, Rob, whilst I sort out these headphones, so bear with.
It's Rafael Dumal and Juan Minh Nguyen. Let's see what the weather is going to be like. Is it going to be wet? Is it going to be dry? It's going to be dry. So then, are you ready for this race? It's time to get going. As who's going to take the lead into the first corner, as we're still waiting for Joe to sort out his issues. If he can't sort them out in time, then I'll have to do the race start alone, but nevertheless, here we go. Are you guys excited? Who's going to win today's Portimao ePrix? Denholm on the right of the screen, Ionescu on the left of the screen, Bracchi also further behind. Who's going to take the lead into Primeira? It should be quite entertaining, as I think I've got you back, Joe.
Yep, we are back indeed. So 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5 lights are now on, and we are underway here at Portimao. Who's going to get the lead into the first corner as they all tippy-toe their way out of the corner? It looks like Ionescu's got a much better launch than Denholm, but he's not quite got alongside. As Bracchi now trying to get a run on Denholm into the first corner. Is he going to make this work? Bracchi up to second. Can he grab the lead now? As Ionescu's not had the best of starts at all. He's been swarmed into the first corner. Denholm trying to hold on to the lead, which he does do. So Denholm keeps holding the lead as it looks like one of the Jaguars there trying to get into second place, and he has done. That's Stepnico. A good start for him in the Jaguar. He's up into P2. Has a good start for Morgan to get out to 4th, but a woeful start from Robert Ionescu there. He's down to 6th.
Yeah, the inside line didn't benefit him much. Let's see what happened.
Let's have a look. So initially, he did get a good launch off the line compared to Denholm, and I'm going to assume he may have got a little bit swarmed when Bracchi got by initially, because I think Bracchi is just coming up onto the left-hand side. Yes, it is, and that kind of compromised Ionescu, and that allowed more cars to go around him as a result.
Yeah, he's lost 4 places due to that.
Dropped down to 6th place at the start, because he's also there lost a place to Dominic Cicelli, who's had a good start to the grid. So 6th and 7th for the 2 Audis.
Here goes Bracchi attacking Stemniczka.
He's trying to retain 2nd place on the Jaguar drivers. The Jaguar driver's not giving the Polish driver any room down towards the hairpin, but Bracchi ignores that and goes up into 2nd place. As meanwhile, Jackson gets 6th of his teammate Ionescu into the hairpin, as everybody just tries to take as many positions as they can, just trying to keep an eye if everybody keeps it clean in the background, which I think they have done. So that's a good thing, as Morgan is actually trying to attack for a podium here.
Incredible stuff.
To come around the Samsung corner now for the first time today. Adventure down in 12th place after the start now then. As there is damage, as it looks like Razin and Dumal have got damage on the first lap, so something has happened to those two. Let's have a look. I wonder if Razan's ran into the back of Dumal at the start, or it was the other way around. Let's see.
Right, here we go.
Oh, there you go. It looked like Dumal ran into the back of him going into the first corner there. I'm not sure if Dumal got assisted at all by that, but whatever the case, Dumal was the one that ran into the back of Razan, and as a result, both of them have got to pit.
Yep, that's right. Bracchi has taken 2nd, as you have the Celli trying to get in the fight with Morgan,
who's also trying to attack Stepnica for the final podium place in this race now. Then looks like Ionescu and Jackson are also behind this train as well, that's forming behind Stepnica at the moment as they make their way through into the penultimate corner now then. So through the right hand there they go, as Denholm is about to begin lap 2 of the race quite soon now then. As now coming around the final turn we go, as now we ride on board with Coach Chun Cheong now then in the Andretti. He's trying to get in the slipstream of his own brother now then as they come out of the final turn, as Denholm sets the early fast lap of the race. But what's going on a little bit further in front, because I think there is somebody going side by side into the first corner. They are indeed. That is Decelli trying to attack. I think that's Morgan. In fact, no, yes it is. It's Morgan he's trying to attack. He's got 4th. It's Jackson also trying to follow through as well, but he can't get that done. And Ionescu's now right onto the back of his teammate again as a result.
Yep, that's right. Jackson tried to go for it, but just didn't have the luck.
Indeed, but Decelli now up into 4th place ahead of Cass Morgan, as now Morgan will have the 2 Audis to deal with, and even Coach Chun Cheong is trying to get some slipstream on Robert Ionescu, as Dumal and who was the other guy? I can't remember who the other guy was. Razin, that's it. I've come in for damage, of course. There's meanwhile some side-by-side, a little bit of contact, I think, there between Coach Chun and Ionescu, but Coach Chun gets it done. Is his brother also going to follow through? I think he is. Yes, it is. So Ionescu getting swarmed at the hairpin there.
This is not good for Audi at all.
Yeah, indeed, they're getting a little bit swarm at the start as Adventure tries to find a way through on Neuville into a low, but he can't get the move done and has to hang back as a result. Meanwhile, Stepnika's trying to get onto the back of Partridge Bracky in front, who's now 1.7 seconds behind Ross Denholm, as now coming around the Craig Jones corner. That's Daniel Adventure, who has got Sana Chue all over the back. As now they come around the Portimao turn now then we will go as the train of cars still forming a little bit further forward now then as they now come around towards, up towards turn 13. They will soon approach now then. As meanwhile, Jaswant Kumar, the championship leader, down in 10th place, so that proves he's lost a place at the start as well. As now we ride on board with Brandon Jackson, who's trying to line up Cass Morgan for a pass for 5th position. I wonder if he can get the move done as they come out of the final turn. Denholm with the fastest lap of the race. Meanwhile, just in front, that is Stepnika trying to attack Bracky for P2. Can Stepnika get the move done down towards the first corner? I think he's got the overlap into the first corner. Can he pull it off? I think he has done. He's up into 2nd place. As a result, as Jackson's up to 5th. He looked like he got the straight line speed advantage. As Ian Escu now back on the inside of Kochi Cheong now, but he can't get the move done as Kumar trying to look to see if he can make it through into turn 2. He tried to have a look at Ian Escu, but Ian Escu will just have the edge to stay in front. Oh, contact just behind there between Neuville and Adventure there as it's getting a little bit argy-bargy down the field. And, well, Neuville's got a whole host of cars right behind her.
Yes, that's right.
Now they come down towards the hairpin. Ian Escu going defensive into the hairpin there as a result. Meanwhile, Adventure on the inside now then of Neuville into the hairpin. Has he got the overlap into the hairpin? He most certainly has, and he's up into P11 as a result. So actually seeing some more overtaking into that hairpin than what I anticipated during qualifying. So P11 there for Daniel Adventure as a result. That puts him 1 place away from the points. Is now Bracky, who's obviously lost the place of Stepnika, has now got Dominic Dicelli all over the back of him. Big look.
Danny, that there's been a little bit of a lock.
Yeah, that was Sana Chue who locked up there. As meanwhile, in fact, look at this. As Dicelli tries to go around the outside of Bracky coming down the hill there, but he couldn't get it to work there. I thought for a minute the Italian was going to pull that move off.
That was bold.
Very bold indeed, and Jackson looking to try and catch up in case anything happens to these two is now coming around the penultimate corner. Dicelli's just essentially pushing Bracky along through into that corner as now through the final turn. Looks like he had to back out there. That's going to ruin his momentum a little bit, I would think. And now Jackson is closing up now to the Italian as a result as they come down the pit straight. Is now coming down towards that pit straight we go. Dicelli has lost momentum to Bracky as a result. As Jackson now sets the fastest lap of the race at 141.681 as they go down towards that first corner as Bracky went defensive with the first corner, but he holds on to 3rd for the moment. As meanwhile, Kumar's up to 9th. He's passing Ionescu somewhere on the track. He's up into P9. In fact, he's trying to complete a move back, which he has done. So he's up into P9, but these two are holding each other up because they're allowing the guy in front, which is the two Cheong brothers, to pull away as a result.
Yep, that's right.
It's coming down the hairpin. Meanwhile, there's some side-by-side action going on there. That's Jackson on the inside of Dicelli into the hairpin. Can he pull it off? No, not quite. Dicelli just able to hold on to 4th for the moment. And so he's trying to get his... He's definitely trying to get into the thick of it. At the moment, is Brandon Jackson in this race as they now come around turn 7 and now into the Samsung corner. We shall go now then as Bracky trying to get away from Dicelli as a result of those two fighting. Meanwhile, Adventure is now trying to attack Ian Escu at the moment. Looks like Ian Escu is kind of struggling at the moment on this first stint.
His day is going from bad to worse.
Yep, as they now go down the hill, as you now look at Partridge Bracky in the Venturi. Now, it is taking a wider line there. Goes... is Dominic Dicelli, who's trying to fend off, of course, from Brandon Jackson's Audi. Meanwhile, Adventure trying to put Ian Escu under a bit of pressure in the fight for 10th position. There's some battling going on down the field as well now then, as Denholm will soon be starting lap 5 of the races as Stepnika comes around the final corner now. Then he will go as Bracky is too far behind him at the moment, but I do wonder what is going on between Jackson and Dicelli at the moment in their fight for 4th position as Jackson's now on the inside of the Italian. Can Jackson pull the move off now on the Nissan as they go side by side down towards the first corner? Bracky able to get away as a result of these two fighting. Down the inside goes Jackson. Has he got the move done? Yes, he has just about. And up into 4th place goes the Audi driver now. Then, meanwhile, Adventure trying to go on the inside of Ian Escu, but he just hasn't got the momentum, or maybe doesn't even have the straight line speed to get the move done. And Ian Escu holds on to 10th at the moment.
Everett has passed Neuville, meanwhile.
And he's up into 13th as he tries to get away from that train of cars that is now right behind him. Now, there's Aviard up into P13 as Nieuweveld seems to be going backwards at this stage of the race now then. As we now look at Denholm in the Nissan, he's got a 2.1 second lead over Jacob Stepnica in the Jaguar. As meanwhile, this is Sana Choi, meanwhile, who's trying to attack. This is Bella Nieuweveld down to the hairpin. So the two female drivers going side by side into the hairpin, and Choi gets up into 14th place. Is Nieuweveld also going to get overtaken by that DS Cheetah as well? No, she's not. She's going to hold it to 15. 14 now for Sana Choi in the Envision Virgin Racing car. Still, it's to score a point this season. Is the South Korean drivers. Meanwhile, Ticelli taking a wider line through into Portimao. I wonder if he's maybe coming under pressure a little bit from Cass Morgan at the moment. Maybe Cass Morgan's starting to get the pace up at the moment in the Mahindra. But yeah, that's that really. Jackson's up to 4th now. I wonder if he could try and catch up to Barch's Bracky in front.
I'm not certain.
Down the final turn goes Denholm as he'll start lap 6 of the race very, very soon. The gap 2 seconds between himself and Stepnica. So Stepnica is gaining a bit on the Scotsman. Let's see what it's like when he crossed the line. Down to 1.9 seconds. So the Jaguar is definitely gaining on the Nissan at the moment as they make their way down towards the first corner now then on the track on lap 6 of 40. Meanwhile, Kwan is now all over the back of Nieuweveld now then. So Nieuweveld also looks like she's going backwards at this race now then as they go down the hill, heading their way down the pit straight now then we will go. As now heading our way down the pit straight. Kwan, is he close enough? I don't think he is. As a result, in fact, it looks like Cohen's actually going to try and attack Kwan instead. Down into the first corner. Can Cohen get the move done into turn 1? No, he can't. No. Meanwhile, that's Koenig, who's not had the best of starts at all today. Down in, well, was 20th, but now he's up into 19th. But yeah, Koenig not having a great day in the office today.
No, definitely not. He's had a difficult season so far.
Indeed so, as Nguyen, of course, in the Group 3 portion, not having the best of seasons at the moment either. As down the hill goes Denholm now then, the gap 1.9 seconds between him and Jacob Stepnica at the moment. As now coming towards the double right-hander of Portimao. They will go as Kwan tries to get back at Nieuweveld into turn 7, but I think Nieuweveld's going to shut the door on him, which she does. And now through into the Samsung corner we will go as Kwan takes the curve through into there. Nieuweveld decides not to do that. And Kwan trying to put her under a bit of pressure down towards Craig Jones now then. But Nieuweveld shutting the door through into that turn. And now look at Jacob Stepnica. Still 1.9, so it's kind of stabilised, I think, now between the top two. As a result, as going down the hill goes Nieuweveld and Kwan now then, as Kwan tries to get back onto Nieuweveld, 0.6 seconds for the gap at this stage now then. As meanwhile Jackson, just looking at the gaps there, I think he's actually getting close. In fact, he's having a look at Bracky meanwhile. So we've got
he's got him already.
On the inside goes Jackson into the first corner, and he's got the move done. Up into P3 goes Brandon Jackson in the Audi.
This is looking like it's going to be Audi's first podium as Kumar goes down the inside of Kokji Chung. He's got him.
I've got the move done. Kochi now down into 9th, Kumar up into 8th, and now Ionescu wants to see if he can gain a place off the Malaysian driver as well. As the gap 1.6, so in fact Stepnica is now starting to rein in on Denholm once again. So Stepnica really sensing he could try and get his first ever victory here if he can get close enough to the Scotsman.
Of course, these guys have to be wary of Jackson coming up from behind.
Because Jackson currently is flying around. I think he's still holding on to the fastest lap of the race, if I'm not mistaken. So, anyway, as Nieuweveld now then, looks like she's locking up into the hairpin there. Meanwhile, just behind, that's Koenig trying to get a place just behind there, but he couldn't get the move done. So he has to hang back as a result behind. That is Jacob Tobler, who's currently stuck behind at the moment, as they're now coming around turn 7 and into turn 8 we go. And Nieuweveld doing a good job keeping Kwan back at the moment in their fight for 15th place at the moment. Both Neos now outside of the points. 1.3 now the gap between the top two as Stepnica tries to get close. Meanwhile, we've got Adventure all over the back of, who is that? That's Ionescu who's trying to overtake there. As a pair of them are also trying to chase down Kochi Cheong. And it also looks like Adventure is actually dragging Carpenter into this as well. So Kochi has got a massive amount of cars right behind him at the moment as we ride on board with Brandon Jackson. Currently the gap 3.6 seconds. What is it like now when he crosses the line? 3.4. So he's actually taken 2/10 out of Stepnica on that occasion. So I think you are right, Rob. I think Jackson is definitely catching on the top two.
Yeah, that's right.
Just coming around turn 2 he goes now then as they now make the way up towards turn 3 we will go, using a lot of curb there. He can just about see the top two right in front of him. 1.1 meanwhile is the gap between the two leaders now then, so Stepnica doing all he can to get it underneath a second, and in fact he's taken another tenth going into second one. In fact he has got it under a second now. It's now 9 tenths between Denholm and Stepnica now then, so it's now under a second between the top two, so we have now got to fight for the lead here.
Yep, I wonder about the battle for ninth in the meantime.
Oh, we're looking at it now because it looks like, in fact, that's Ionescu on the inside of Kochi Cheong into the hairpin, and I think he's going to get it done. I think, yes, he is. Ionescu up into ninth place with Adventure also going to follow through. No, he's not. Carpenter also trying to have a look at Adventure, but he can't get it done. But that's Ionescu up into ninth place, so at least he's now gained a place in this race.
Ionescu's had a tough start, but I think he's starting to mount a comeback.
Yep, as Ionescu just making his way out of the Samson corner now. Then is on now trying to catch up to Kumar, who's actually pulled 4.4 seconds whilst they were fighting for ninth place just a little bit earlier on. As now through the double right-hander of Portimao we go. Looks like Kochi's still sticking with the Romanian driver at the moment, but it looks like Ionescu's got better traction coming out of Portimao there, so I think he might just be able to pull away as a result.
Yeah, so it seems.
Now coming around turn 13 there goes Ionescu. The gap 1.3 is Bracky's actually up into 4th place. He's passed Decelli somewhere on the track. Or is that because something's... In fact, what has happened there? In fact, no, that's Decelli got a problem. Decelli's got a problem. And the Italian is out of the race. That's a first retirement of the day. Jackson sets another fastest lap there. But that is a retirement. He even had a pit call as well. Did Decelli. But clearly the car has split into a halt. And Dominic Decelli, who was on the podium, is now out of the race.
Yep, indeed.
I say podium, he was fighting for 4th, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But let's see what the problem was anyway to push him, and it's a loose wheel. He's actually had a loose wheel, so clearly either the nut has loosened itself or the mechanics didn't fit it on properly on the grid. But that is the first retirement of the day, and it comes courtesy of Dominic Decelli.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Denholm is actually now up the pace now because it was under a second between these two, let's not forget. But now Denholm has upped it to 1.5 seconds. Jackson is now 1.4 behind Stepnica now then. So he's continuing to gain as Adventure is actually closing onto the back of Kochi Cheong now then. As it will be his turn now to try and take ninth from the Malaysian driver. Meanwhile, down the inside goes Kwan. It's all contact there between Cohen and Koenig there. And Koenig, that's a bump and run if I've seen one before. And he gets up into 16th. Is Tobler going to follow through? No, he's not. But a bit of a cheeky move there from the Andretti driver.
Yep, that's right.
Turn 7 and 8 now then. We will go on the racetrack as now coming out of the Samsung corner goes the Dominican Republic driver. Rudely
just Dominican.
Yep, as now come around the right-hander as now as Trey... Whoa, it looks like Trey had a bit of a moment going up towards turn 13 there. As now, meanwhile, the gap still 1.1 as Jackson sets another fastest lap at 141.439 in the Audi now then as Denholm has started lap 10 of the race now then. But I wonder if he's maybe a little bit concerned himself given his teammate is out of the race.
Could be the case, yeah, as Jackson is flying at the moment right now. I bet the other Audi wishes he had this sort of pace.
Yeah, indeed, and I'm pretty sure that's now under a second now behind Stepnica and Jackson now. Then as the pair of them are also not too far behind on the race leader Ross Denholm at the moment as we ride on board with, this is Bella Nueville I think we're riding on board with.
She's being overtaken.
You just see on the right hand side there, that's Koenig trying to make up ground and he's up into 15th place now then, so the German driver gets through. Into P15 is Jackson up on his personal best again in the first sector, so could even be looking at another fastest lap. Meanwhile, Danny inside goes, that is Carpenter on Adventure trying to get the final points place off the German driver. Coming out the hairpin, and he's got it done. The Irishman up into 10th. Looks like Adventure's got a poor exit, and that's allowed the Porsche there of Leighton Aviard to get up into 11th place.
He's lost another position. I could lose yet another one. There you go.
That's Sana Trey getting 12th, so Adventure getting mugged on the exit of that hairpin there.
Jax has got a lot closer to Stepnichka in the meantime.
So we've got a fight for second place going on, as there's also a fight for fifth going on between Morgan, Coach Chun Cheong, and Jaswant Kumar. Looks like Ionescu's also catching up as well, because it was 4 seconds between them earlier on, but Ionescu got the gap down to 1.14. Now, meanwhile, look at this. Battle for second place. Jackson was trying to go for it into the final corner there, but Sepnika was saying no to that, and it's kind of lost Jackson a little bit of momentum going down the straight as a result, and as a result, he's not close enough to try and get a move into turn 1.
Nope.
Down the hill we go now then, heading into the first corner. We shall go now then, as now using a bit of curb on the exit there through turn 2. Will Jackson maybe try and line up for a move into the hairpin? Surprisingly enough, unlike what I was saying in qualifying a bit early on, we are seeing a lot of overtakes being done down into the hairpin today, which is a little bit of a surprise. And I wonder if Jackson is going to be the later to do that, as he's lining up Stepnika for a pass down into the hairpin. Kwan takes the fastest lap away from Jackson, meanwhile, as Jackson now on the inside, as I think there may have been some contact there, and that's a bit of a bump and run, and Jackson gets up into second place. A bit cheeky there, but Jackson is now up into P2.
Yeah, definitely cheeky.
As that's that then. Now, can Jackson go after Denholm? As meanwhile, that's Nguyen getting by on Bella Neuville, who seems to be going backwards, and now Bella Neuville has now got her teammate Jacob Tobler right behind her as a result. As meanwhile, the battle for what is 5th position is getting quite spicy indeed. As what we saw earlier, Morgan holding up, it appears, a huge train of cars right behind him at the moment. 1.3 seconds now, the gap between Denham and Jackson. So that's the gap that Jackson has got to try and close down in their fight for the lead of the race. Meanwhile, we're back to this battle for 5th. In fact, unseen by the cameras, Coach Chun Cheong has actually got by on Morgan. So he's up into P5, but Morgan is still sticking with him.
Yeah, indeed, Morgan could try to counterattack on the final straight.
Indeed so, as Stepnika is now losing time to Brandon Jackson. There's a big lock up there for Kochi Cheong, as it looks like Owen Carpenter is trying to catch up on him as they now come towards the penultimate corner on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Morgan, is he going to try and get back at Coach Chun Cheong in their fight for 5th position meanwhile? And
let's take a look.
That battle for 5th has only just come out of the final corner, really, and the camera rudely not showing us that. As now we come down to it. There comes Cass Morgan now. They're trying to have a look at Coach Cheong again. Down into the first corner. He's got to be aware that Kumar's behind, but he can't get the momentum as a result. But as mentioned, he's got to be aware of both Kumar and Ionescu very soon. As meanwhile, Adventure is trying to get back on the pace. He's now trying to look on the inside of Leighton Aviard for what is P12. And, oh, contact there!
Contact!
And, oh, that was a bit, I don't know what happened there, but Adventure gets up into 12th place as a result. And, well, I don't think he's going to be particularly happy. In fact, unseen by the cameras, in fact, I think Choi got up into 11th somewhere on the track. But, yeah, that was a little bit cheeky there from Daniel Adventure, it's fair to say.
I wouldn't call it the bump and run. I would call it the shove and pass.
Yeah, that was a bit aggressive there. As you look at Ross Denholm now, then it's 0.8 seconds now between the leaders. So Jackson's actually got it up down to a second. As a result of this, if you now look at Morgan, who's got Kumar all over the back of him now and in the fight for 6th position, as they now come towards the Portimao corner and taking a wide line. There is Morgan. Is Kumar going to capitalise? I don't think he is. And now look who's in the fight. Ionescu is now right behind them as a result.
Yep, indeed. It'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Coming around the left hand now, then we go. As now can Kumar maybe line up a pass on Morgan down towards the first corner. Looks like as a result, Coach Chun Cheong has actually pulled away now from this group as a result. And now Kumar now looking to try and have a go at Morgan into the final corner. Ionescu going to look on to see if anything happens. Kumar had to back out there. Is Ionescu going to take full advantage of this? Because he's still...
I don't think he's close enough.
As they come down the pit straight now then, as now Kumar... trying to get back onto the prowl of Morgan, but I think he's just too far back to challenge, and Morgan is going to hold on to 6th as a result. Meanwhile, back to the battle for the lead now then between Denholm and Jackson as they come down towards the hairpin now then. Jackson not close enough to get a hold of him this time by, but the gap is now 4 tenths between them, and Stepnika is closing back in as a result. Meanwhile, this is Kwan trying to attack into the first corner as, I thought for a minute there Aviard was going to get bumped off again like he did with Adventure, but that's not going to be the case, and Aviard holds on to 13th
Morgan's
place.
been past hours ahead.
Up into 6th place. He's got the move done on Cass Morgan, so now up to P6 goes the championship leader. He got it done at the exit of the hairpin there, so that's P6 for him. Now will Ionescu try and follow through? Speaking of Valdez, Jackson is all over the back of Ross Denholm now then, as he can sense a victory is on the table today. And we haven't even got to the mandatory pit stop stages yet.
Yeah, his pace has been very, very strong so far this race.
Coming out of the third to last corner there, through into the penultimate turn. We'll go Brandon Jackson now. They're through to the right-hander. We go as now Jackson is going to try and line up Denholm for a move into the onto the pit straight. Doesn't try to go for it into the final corner. He's definitely waiting for the pit straight, and we could have a lead change here as a result. Denholm has led for 13 laps, but that could change. Make that 14 as he crosses the line. As now Jackson on the inside of Ross Denholm as they go side by side down towards the first corner. Has Jackson got enough to get the lead off the Scotsman down the inside?
Yeah.
And yes, he has. Jackson takes the lead here at Portimao.
Yep, that's right. Good job for him.
Nika now closing on to the back of Denholm as a result. Meanwhile, Morgan is under pressure from Ionescu here in the fight for 7th place as the Romanian goes down the inside of the Mahindra driver, down towards the first corner, down towards turn 1, and Ionescu's at 7th pretty easily.
Yeah, he's got me even before the braking zone.
Indeed so. Meanwhile, that's another take. That's Trey getting into the points there. She's past Carpenter. Trey up into 10th place. Is now Kwan on the inside of Aviard, and he gets the move done on the Porsche driver. He gets up into 13th place. They've also got Marvo Koenig is trying to charge his way through the field on the back of these two as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Around turn those sections of corners. Meanwhile, Stepnika now, it's now his turn to try and attack Denholm as Jackson now starts to pull away at the front as a result of this. Now through Craig Jones we go, and Stepnika trying to put Denholm under a lot of pressure here.
Yes, indeed.
The right-hander we go now. Then the Czech driver doing all he can to get by on the Scotsman now. Then through turn 11 now into sorry, that was turn 12 I should say. This is turn 13 now. Then we're approaching. As now approaching the penultimate corner, we will go as 1.7 now the gap that Jackson's got on Denholm as a result. As we ride on board with Carpenter, taking a wider line in.
A little deep.
Yep, I wonder if he's under pressure perhaps from Daniel Adventure. I'm not sure, but he's now losing time. Donna Chue as a result. But what is Stepnika doing in the fight for second place? He's now in the slipstream now then of Denholm. He's going to go to the inside. Can the Jaguar driver pull the move off as they go side by side? Down towards the first corner, as Stepnika got the move done. Down towards the first corner, into the first corner he goes. Has he got the move done? And they're still side by side, going into turn 2, but he's just got the edge, and Stepnika up into second place.
Good move.
But Jackson 2.4 seconds now in front of these lot as a result of those two fighting for second place. But yeah, that's the move done for Stepnika. And after leading for 14 laps, Denholm now finds himself down in third. Meanwhile, Koenig on the inside now then of Leighton Aviard as they go down towards the first corner. Can the German driver get the move done on the Porsche now then? Down the inside, he's got the overlap into the first corner. It should be an easy move.
Easy does it.
Koenig up into 14th place as Denholm looks like he's now slipping away now from Stepnika. I wonder if Bracky might have pace on Denholm. We shall see.
I don't think so, to be fair.
The gap's 6.6 seconds, so of course we will keep an eye on that as they go down the hill towards Craig Jones corner now, then through the left-hander, and now heading towards the double right-handers of Portimao now then. We will go through the right-hander, goes the Nissan driver, as we now look at Jackson. He's now 4.8 seconds clear of those two now then, of Stepnika and Denholm, as Jackson trying to pull away as much as he can before we get into the mandatory pit stop stages of the race now then, as they come out of that right-hander. We're now right on board with Kochi Cheong now. He's just 1.4 seconds behind Morgan. So after what was a very encouraging qualifying for the Mahindra, Rob, it looks like he's now dropping backwards.
As expected, to be honest, given the pace of his car.
Jackson reclaims the fastest lap now then, a 141.107, so he's now holding on to the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race. As here is Rafael Demel now then, looked like he just had a moment just coming out of turn 5 there. Of course, trying to make up lost time after he and Razan sustained damage on the first lap, but they will have to pit again, as you can see on the def panel on the top of your screen there. So their race is pretty much down the toilet, really.
Yep.
Through the Portimao corner now then, as Jackson is nearly 5 seconds clear of Stepnika. In fact, he is now 5.1 seconds now, the gap between him and Jacob Stepnika as a result. As now just looking around at the rest of the field now, then the gap 1.5 seconds between Kochi Cheong and Sana Chue at the moment. As meanwhile, Kumar's now all over the back of Coach on Cheong, so we've got a fight for 5th place brewing here as Coach on Cheong had to defend from Kumar going into the hairpin there.
Both of them appear to be quite light. I would expect them to come in a few laps' time.
Yep, as we're soon getting close to the mandatory pit stop stages of the race now. Then through into Samsung corner now, then we shall go as Ionescu trying to catch back up to Kumar. He's 3.1 seconds behind as a result, but I wonder with the hold-ups if he can close back up in just a little bit as we look through the rest of the order to see what's going on. I think that's the only battle that's really happening on track moment, that battle for fifth between Ko Chun Cheong and Jaswant Kumar at the moment, as Kumar now then doing all he can to maybe try and line up the Malaysian for a pass down onto the pit straight, as Ionescu is now 2.6 seconds behind that battle, as Jackson
To me, it looks like Ionescu is going for the overcut on the pair of them.
Lap 17 of the race we are now on now then, as Jackson continues to increase his lead out in front at the moment, as I wonder if Kumar is now lining up a move on Ko Chun Cheong now then in their fight for fifth position. Here we go then, Kumar on the inside of Ko Chun Cheong now then, heading down towards the first corner now then. Can the Indian driver get the move done here on the Venturi driver heading down towards the first corner? I don't think he's got the overlap, and no, he's not. So
he hasn't.
Going to hold on to fifth place as a result. Both of them going a little bit wide coming out that corner. As Kwan now grabs the fastest lap of the race, and now he's holding on to the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race. And Kwan, of course, is still yet to score a point this season, so that might actually help as a result. 1.6 between Denholm and Stepnica. So Denholm maybe starting to catch back up now to the Jaguar driver. And I wonder if there's any movement going on down at the hairpin between Ko Chung and Kumar meanwhile. So I don't think there is. I don't think there was much movement going on the mini-map on the right-hand side there. So I think Ko Chung is still holding on to fifth place. All that's doing is allowing Ionescu to close up as a result, though. So for Ionescu, really, the pair of them are doing him a big favour.
Yeah, it looks like he's mounting his comeback drive with a heavy fuel strategy.
Indeed so. And yep, as you can see on the graphic, Ko Chung is still in fifth place at the moment in this race now then. As meanwhile, look at this, Ionescu's all over the back of Kumar as a result, and Ionescu wants that P6 of the championship leader. Now come up the hill now then towards turn 13 now, then we go, as now will Ionescu maybe try and line up a move on Jaswant Kumar into the first corner now then, as they go around the penultimate turn on the racetrack, as the Audi driver doing all he can, but I think he's just a little bit too far back to challenge, honestly, at the moment. But he is definitely gaining on the Jaguar driver.
Yes, indeed. As my Discord is having a mare.
Yeah, as now coming down the straight now, then we go, as Ionescu now then is 9/10 back as a result of losing a bit of time coming out the Portimao corner there. As the gap 6 seconds now between Jackson and Stepnica, 6.8 to be exact, as Ionescu tries to close back in on the Jaguar driver in front of him now then, as they come out of the left-hander using a lot of curb on the outside before making their way down towards the hairpin now then on the racetrack, as both of them doing all they can to put Ko Chun Cheong under a bit of pressure in front. Not too far behind, 3.4 seconds back, is Cass Morgan. So I do wonder if these three battle for too long. I wonder if Morgan, and in fact that big train of cars that's right behind him,
Double has overtaken Newerville, meanwhile unseen by the cameras.
The Neos have switched places as a result, so Newerville once again dropping backwards.
Yellows.
We've got a yellow flag. We got a yellow flag down into the first corner. Who is that? That's Newerville. So that explains why Tobler got by on her earlier, and it's a retirement for Bella Newerville. She's pulled off at the exit turn 2. And it's a suspension failure that's taken care of the Neo driver. So Bella Newerville is out, and we're down to 20 runners here as a result.
Yes, that's right.
While Ionescu doing all he can to get a hold of Kumar now then, as meanwhile Carpenter is under pressure here from Daniel Adventure, as he's actually kept up with Silent Trey. Jackson reclaims the fast lap and has broken into the 1-minute 40s. As a result, a 1-minute 40.825 now for Brandon Jackson in the Audi, as now he reclaims those 2 bonus points again in this race as they come around the penultimate turn. Is Adventure going to get the move done on Owen Carpenter now then, as they come around the final turn, as in fact Adventure taking a very weird line coming around that corner there, taking a wider line through into there for some odd reason. But anyway, as now Adventure right in the slipstream here of Owen Carpenter, as he's going to go down the inside of the DS Cheetah driver now. They're heading down towards the first corner. Can he pull the move off into the first corner? And the answer to that is no, he can't.
Not quite.
Carpenter holds on to the place. Adventure just didn't quite get the overlap on the DS Cheetah driver.
Yeah, indeed.
As meanwhile, Stepnica now then, he's now 8.2 seconds behind Brandon Jackson, 2.7 between him and Denholm, so he's now opened up the gap between himself and the Scotsman now then in this race. As meanwhile, Kwan is now all over the back of Adventure now. Then is he going to claim P12 here of the Mercedes driver who's obviously lost momentum? He's got P12 from Adventure, as it seems that Kwan getting by an Adventure there. Carpenter doing his teammate a massive favour there.
Yes, absolutely right, Joe.
It's now coming around turns 7 and 8 now, then we go. As Adventure, every time he's in a battle, he just seems to always lose positions today for whatever reason. That's not going to bode well for him in his championship attack today. As hello, Dennis, who's in the stream chat with us. As now, as you can see, Adventure trying to get back at Kwan as best he can, but unable to do so through the Portimao corner there. As meanwhile, we're now at the halfway stage of the race as Jackson has started lap 20 of 40 here at Portimao. And still, nobody's blinking yet. Nobody's making their mandatory pit stop just yet at this stage. Although Coach Chung has still got 3 laps, so I wonder if he's going to be pitting either next lap or the lap after. We shall see as the Malaysian driver is going to cross the line. In fact, he's got Kumar on the back. And in fact, pit indicator there, that's for his teammate. So that'll be for Bracky. He's coming into the pits this lap. The man currently in 4th place is Kumar is also coming in at the end of this lap in the Jaguar, so we're looking to try and see if he can jump the Venturi driver, even if he can't get him in the pit, as mentioned. So we've got Bracky and Kumar coming into the pit, so the mandatory pit stops are underway this lap, Rob.
Yep, that's right, and I expect the overcut to be stronger, so the guys pitting early are going to be at a disadvantage.
Yep, indeed, as meanwhile Sana Choi is actually catching up to Kochi Cheong now then, so she's looking at maybe trying to get some more points. In fact, Carpenter's teammate Nguyen Min Kwan is coming into the pits. And speaking of Kwan, he's all over the back of Carpenter here. I can just see it in the mirrors, in fact, because Carpenter's having to go defensive here. Kwan is on the inside. Has he got P11 from his own teammate here into the hairpin? And you know what? Yes, he has. P11 for Nguyen Min Kwan. But of course, Kwan is pitting at the end of this lap.
Clockwork. That was a very smart overtake, as Kumar has gotten the overtake done meanwhile.
Kumar's up to 5th place. He's passed Coach Chun Cheong somewhere on the racetrack. So Kumar is now up into P5. He's finally got the move done, just as he's pitting on this lap, of course.
Yep.
So that's that then. So now it'll be Ionescu's turn to try and get a hold of Coach Chun Cheong in this race now then. As mentioned, of course, we've got some pit activity this lap with Bartosz Bracki in the Venturi. The man in P4 in this race is coming into the pits at the end of this lap. As now make the way down the straight now then, as Stepnica, of course, is looking like he's going to be doing another lap out there. But into the pits now then comes Bartosz Bracki in the Venturi in 4th position. So he's now into the pits as a result.
Yep.
As mentioned, Bracki now then into the pits for Venturi. And be interested to see where he's going to emerge on the racetrack now then. As Ionescu is up into 5th position, obviously because of Bracki coming in. Same with Kumar, of course. So they're both now then into the pits. And Kwan is also into the pits as well this time around as well. So now heading into the hairpin now then we will go. As now they come around these section of corners. As now we look at Carpenter, who has got... who is that behind? That's Adventure right behind. Bracki, meanwhile, rejoins in 13th after his pit stop. So that's that, really. It'll be interesting to see where he feeds out once everybody makes their pit stops in this race, as Bracki just comes around the section of corners now then. As now coming around that corner, it's 10.1 seconds, the gap between Jackson and Stepnica, meanwhile. As Jackson is now over 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. As meanwhile, Ionescu is now 5 tenths behind Coach Chun Cheong in this race. Looks like none of course
I expect Chung to come in this lap.
Indeed, as now coming around turns 3 and 4 now, then we will go. As Nguyen is now ahead of Cohen on the racetrack, so he's got the move done there on Cesar Cohen Jr. As again, looks like none of the top 3 are blinking this lap, as we now look at Daniel Adventure in the Mercedes all over the back of Owen Carpenter's.
Jackson's in.
The race leader is into the pits now then, so Brandon Jackson is now in. And let's see how quick the stop is going to be then. As he went a little bit too fast there with the flicking there. As he went by on Jackson. Jackson finishes his pit stop, 7 seconds. Where is the race leader going to emerge then? So I was incorrect. The one of the top 3 was pitting as Coach Chun Cheong is into the pit. So that releases Ionescu. As a result of that, he's going to stay out for a little bit longer as his teammate Jackson rejoins in front of him in third position. So he rejoins P3 as Coach Chun Cheong now then into the pits for Venturi. Let's see how quick the stop is going to be. In fact, there is a lot of mechanics in the pit lane at this point, Rob.
Yes, indeed. Quite a lot of people stretching their strategy as long as they could.
Yep, indeed. Where is Cheong going to emerge? In fact, is he going to get held up at all during this pit stop? The answer to that is no. 7.6 seconds is the pit stop time for him. Cass Morgan into the pits for Mahindra now then. A 7.9 second stop for the Mahindra driver now then. As Bracky goes back through into 10th place. Meanwhile, Ionescu, it doesn't care if it's his teammate. He's trying to attack him into the hairpin now then. And has he got the overtake done on Jackson? No, he's not. Jackson just has the traction there. But yeah, a little bit weird there for the two Audi drivers there. As meanwhile, it looks like Koenig, I think he's actually made a bit of contact with Adventure
went wide.
I think he made contact with Koenig there as the two Germans made contact, but Koenig goes through into 7th place as a result as he's continuing to charge through the field. As Stepnica is coming into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Jackson is compromising his teammate who needs clean air to jump the cars he is racing. And Jackson is not doing him any favors.
Indeed, as now coming around the final corner now then. We will go as Stepnica now then pulls to the right and into the pits comes the Jaguar driver now then as he will now pull into his box. And also into the pits, that is Ross Denholm. So the top two are now into the pits. So both Stepnica and Denholm are into the pits for their only stop of the race. And let's see how quick the stop is going to be then for Jacob Stepnica. Fresh set of tyres, obviously going to the end of the race, of course, one stop. Denholm also went, as you can see in front of him there, as they're doing their pit stops. Jackson should resume the lead as a result of this. As through goes Stepnica. He's finished his pit stop, as has Ross Denholm now then. So both of them have finished their pit stop. And through goes Brandon Jackson as a result. As Ionescu actually staying out for a little bit longer at the moment. And in fact, he's pitting at the end of this lap. So for a brief time by, it is an Audi 1-2. But of course, Ionescu is pitting at the end of this lap as Leighton Aviard comes into the pits for Porsche. Denholm rejoins in 7th place. And that's that just in front of Daniel Adventure, who is still yet to make a pit stop.
Yeah, Adventure could attack him.
Pit at the end of this lap.
Okay.
Right, okay. As Ionescu now then just making his way through into the left-hander now, then he will go as they will now make their way through the Portimao corner. Meanwhile, that's Adventure on the inside of Denholm, and he's got the move done. So he's up into 7th place. And Denholm, well, Adventure is still to pits. That's not going to help Denholm if he wants to chase back after Jacob Stepnica in this race.
Yep, indeed.
Ionescu now then making his way up towards the Portimao corner now then. As Ionescu just comes out of the turn through into the left-hander now then he will go. As now Carpenter is all over the back of Jacob Stepnica now then in the fight for 4th position. As in fact Jackson now pulling away from Ionescu now that he's broke free from the Romanian driver. So it'll be fascinating to see where Ionescu rejoins after his pit stop, as Jackson is going to start lap 24 of the race very soon. So through the final turn goes Ionescu in the Audi, and he'll pull to the right-hand side, which he will do. Now then into the pits comes Robert Ionescu in the Audi.
Yep, that's right. He was on a personal best on this in lap. So we'll see if he can get a jump on Kumar and Kok Jun Chong if he's lucky.
Yep, indeed. Looks like there is some more mechanics out in the pit lane as well. As let's see how quick the stop is going to be then for Robert Ionescu, as obviously going to the end of the race. And it's a 6.4 seconds, but he's been held up because that's Koenig who's just coming to the pit. And I've just realised, in fact, the Andretti mechanics are not the bog standard generic mechanics that everybody else has got. That's a bit strange. But anyway, Ionescu now then finishes pit stop. Bracky goes through. But where is he going to emerge now then? Is Stepnica currently in 3rd place. He's got Carpenter right behind, but of course Carpenter is still yet to make his pit stop. And Ionescu rejoins right behind Barch's Bracky, I think. So where's that in regards to Joshua Kumar, I wonder?
Ahead.
Must be ahead because I can't see Kumar somewhere on the track. Let's have a look on the timing screen on the bottom. Of course, we're on auto cam at the moment because Yuri has to do something briefly at the moment. As now through into turns 4 he goes, and he rejoins. Yeah, he's in front of both Coach Chun Cheong and Kumar. Kumar, in fact, is behind Coach Chun Cheong, but Ionescu has jumped the pair of them in the pits.
Brilliant overcut from the Audi mechanics.
Indeed so he's gained a couple of places as a result. Sana Choi currently up in 2nd place, but she's still yet to make her pit stop, of course, at this stage now, as we look at Cass Morgan in the Mahindra now, then who's down in 19th position, and I wonder if that's where he's going to be after everybody pits, because he has been going backwards for quite a while, so that's not entirely good for Cass Morgan, and in fact he's under pressure here from Jacob Tobler, who's going to get through on him here. So yeah, it's not really gone well. Asana Choi now finally comes into the pit, so Stepnica will get back up into second place as a result. As now Ionescu goes through into the first corner there, as Razan's teammate Adventure is coming into the pits at the end of this lap. As mentioned, Choi has already come in. Adventure is now into the pits for Mercedes, as now will make their way through into the left-hander now. Then we shall go, as now coming around these section of corners. We now look at Jacob Stepnica now. Then 1.2 seconds is the gap between him and Carpenter, but as mentioned, Carpenter is still yet to make his pit stop in this race now. Then in fact he's pitting this lap, whilst we look at Kwan, who's trying to overtake us. Choi rejoins in 6th position now then, so she's actually come out quite well. In fact, she's way into the points, but she comes out just in front of Ionescu, who's got a whole train of cars right behind him.
This is a little strange. I did not expect Troy to get the jump on him.
Yep, indeed, but I wonder if Ionescu is going to get a run on the Virgin driver heading down towards the hairpin now then, as in fact Choi goes defensive, because I think Ionescu was not close enough, so Choi will hold on to 6th place for the moment. Adventure rejoined in 12th after his pit stop, so that's where he emerged as a result of that. As Cohen now then makes his way through into these section of corners now, then through into turn number 4 there we will go, as heading down towards turn 5. Here's Cass Morgan, who's down in 20th position, and well, after being in the points earlier on, it's all gone wrong for him.
Yeah, indeed.
As they come out of turn 4 there, as Morgan now starting to lose time to Jacob Tobler as a result. Jackson starts lap 26 of the race, as Carpenter is finally coming into the pits at the end of this lap, as that's pretty much that. As we look now at Marvo Koenig now, then he's all over the back of Daniel. Yep, okay.
Welcome back, Yere.
As nothing really much happened apart from Choi getting the jump on a load of cars. As Carpenter now then into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. So now back up to 3rd place goes Ross Denholm in the Nissan now then. And let's see where Carpenter is going to emerge. I wonder if he's going to jump a lot of people in the pits, because he stayed out for quite a while. 6.7 seconds is the pit stop for the Cheetah driver now then. As the Irish driver, let's see where he's going to emerge then after this pit stop. And looks like the group are going to go by him. So Carpenter is going to rejoin in what looks to be 9th position. So he comes out in front of his teammate Nguyen Kwan there. So he's got back ahead of Kwan in the pit stops there. But they've also got Kochi Cheong right behind as well. In fact, a whole host of cars right behind as well, including Koenig is at the back of this train. So Koenig could actually sense a points finish today after what was a tricky qualifying session.
I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. As meanwhile, Kwan is actually trying to get back at his teammate here. Kwan on the inside of Carpenter. Is he going to get P9 from his teammate? Down into the hairpin he goes, and he has done. So Kwan back up into 9th place. As a result, there's a whole bit of contact there. It's allowed Adventure to get up into 11th place on Kochi Cheong, as now Koenig tries to attack his teammate for 12th place, but can't get it done. And, well, bit cheeky there for an Adventure, but he gets up into 11th place, as that's pretty much that, really, as Koenig will now try and attack his teammate as best he can, as we now look at Brandon Jackson, who's just dominating the race out in front. Meanwhile, Ionescu right on the back of Sana Choi, meanwhile, in the battle for what is 5th place. It's just behind Kumar, who's trying to put Coach Chun Cheong under a bit of pressure in their fight for 7th place in this race, as now they come around into the hairpin there, as we now ride aboard with the championship leader, as Rob's microphone decides to have some technical issues there, as
Right, sorry.
now coming around these section of corners now, then we will go, as meanwhile the gap is nearly 12 seconds now between the top two. Meanwhile, Kumar is now putting Coach on Cheong under a bit of pressure here. Is Kumar going to get P7 here of the Malaysian drivers? They come down the pit straight now then, heading towards turn 1. Ionescu is actually not close to Choi as much as I was anticipating, as now Kumar on the inside of Coach on Cheong now then into the first corner. I don't think he's going to have the overlap on him, to be honest with you. No. Oh no, Coach John's gone wide. Coach John's been forced into an error, and Kumar says thank you very much. I take that place with ease, as now Carpenter is battling with Adventure. But yeah, a bit of a clumsy error there from Coach Chun Cheong.
Yeah, indeed. I did not expect that mistake.
Yeah, it looked like he was pressured there a bit by Kumar, and as mentioned, Kumar just said, "Thank you very much. I'll take P7 with ease." There, as meanwhile now then
Yeah.
the two Andretti's are trying to attack Adventure here as Razan is coming into the pits for his second stop, and I would imagine the same is going to be applied for Rafael Demel in this race. Meanwhile, Adventure trying to get the final points place here off of Owen Carpenter, heading down towards the hairpin is Adventure to get the move done, and yes, he is. Adventure back into the point, and he's up into 10th position as now Carpenter has got the two Andretti's breathing down his neck, and it also looks like the Porsche Red Aviard is not far behind either.
No.
As meanwhile, that's Demel, that's Razan and Demel. I think they've just finished their final stops, of course, because they had to pit again after they sustained damage earlier on in the race. So they've just completed.
Joy is gaining rapidly onto Braki meanwhile.
Yes, she is indeed. So we could have a fight for 4th place brewing very soon between Braki and Chue, of course. Both of them driving Group 2 cars as well. So it'll be a Group 2 fight for 4th, and which will be very interesting to see who will come out on top of that one. Meanwhile, we're running on board with this is Nguyen Minh Quan. He's all over the back of Ko Chung Cheong now then. So Quan looking to try and get some more points in this race if he can. In fact, Quan trying to have a look before the final turn there, but not going to work out. But let's see if he can try and get back in the slipstream of the Malaysian driver heading down the pit straight now. Then we ride on board with Quan heading down the pit straight. Is Quan going to get P8 here of a Ko Chung Cheong, or is he just a little bit too far back? Let's see as they head down towards the first corner, and I think he's just too far back to challenge. So Ko Chung will hold on to 8th place for the moment. Now there's a come out of the first corner through into turn 2 and then up towards turn 3 to go, and I wonder if Quan is going to line up Ko Chung here for a pass down into the hairpin.
He might.
Through turn 4 we will go now then as Quan flicks it through the left-hander using a lot of curb on the outside as they make their way down towards the hairpin. Now then we will go as Ko Chung is actually just a little bit too far in front for Quan to challenge, so Quan is going to have to hang back as a result. Stepnica now 8.1 seconds ahead of Ross Denholm in this race now then, so Stepnica just having a quiet race really, up in second place as he's 13.4 seconds behind race leader Brandon Jackson, as Jackson will soon be starting lap 29 of the race. So when he crosses the line, we will only have 12 laps to go in at this race, which he has done now, in fact. Meanwhile, Cheong is still under pressure from Quan here. Quan tried to have a go through into the Craig Jones corner there, but it didn't work out that time by as Koenig tries to put his teammate Kochi Cheong under pressure in the fight for 12. As mentioned, they've also got Leighton Aviard right behind as well, who could try and capitalise on that fight. As Koenig now then trying to have a go at Cheong, but can't get the move done, as the other Cheong, of course, is under pressure from the Nguyen Minh Quan in their fight for what is, I think, 8th or 9th position, if I am not mistaken. And here he goes now then, so it's Quan going to try and get the move done here on Ko Chung Cheong as they go around the final turn now then, as they'll now come onto the pit straight. Is Quan going to get P8 here off of Ko Chung Cheong now then, heading down towards the first corner? Will the Tita driver get the move done now then, heading into the first corner now then? We will go down towards turn 1. Has he got the move done? And the answer to that is yes, he has, I think, because he's forced Kochi into an error there, and Quan is up into 8th place as a result of that. And now Adventure and Carpenter are now going to try and attack him for 9th place. Ko Chung is now going backwards in this race.
Yeah, this is looking like an interesting fight.
Meanwhile, looks like Adventure is under pressure again from Carpenter as they go down towards the hairpin now then. But I think, Carpenter is not close enough to get the move done, so Carpenter will have to hang back for the moment as they come out of the hairpin now then. As now approaching turns 6, 7 and 8, they'll soon approach. The two Andretti still in a similar position at the moment. Meanwhile, the gap 3.1
is only 3 seconds behind Braki, so she is gaining quite fast.
So, as mentioned, we could have a fight for 4th place brewing very soon as we continue to look at this scrap for what is 9th place between Ko Chung Cheong, Daniel Adventure and Owen Carpenter now then, as Adventure tries to put Ko Chung under a bit of pressure through into the double right-hander with Portimao now then, heading down the hill through into the left-hander. Looked like also Ko Chung didn't have the best exit coming out of that corner either, as now heading into the third to last corner we shall go on the racetrack, and now into the penultimate top corner will go Daniel Adventure and Ko Chung Cheong. He's also got to be worried that Owen Carpenter is right behind, and he could also try and capitalise on this as well. Coming out the penultimate turn, Adventure looking to the inside into the final turn. I don't think that's going to work, and Carpenter could have him here as a result. He's going to go all the way around the outside.
This is a brilliant move if he can pull it off. Yes, he has.
Has done it indeed. Up into 10th place goes Owen Carpenter as a result, and he's also going to get a bit of slipstream here on Coach on Cheon, but not enough to try and overtake him into the first corner. But yeah, Adventure clearly getting a bit impatient.
Yes, indeed.
As Coachy Cheon was trying to fend off there from teammate Marvo Koenig and also the Porsche of Leighton Aviard, whilst we were just briefly looking at there. And here we are, looking back at them. Through into turn number 3 now, then we go. And now up towards turn 4 as they go around the left-hander. As now coming out of the turn using a lot of the curve. Is Koenig going to get the move done, I wonder? As we look back at Jackson, and who's going to be starting lap 31 very soon now. Then Danny inside, goes Koenig on Coachy Cheong, and he's got the move
He's got
done.
him.
Up into 12th place goes the German driver. Aviard tries to see if there's a look in there, but he can't get it done, so he has to hang back for the moment. But Koenig now up into 12th place as a result of that, as he now make their way through turn 7 and 8 now then on the track, as we now look back at Ross Denholm in the Nissan, as he's 8.9 seconds now behind Jacob Stepnika now then, and probably just cruising now to 3rd place. I think that's pretty much the whole thing with the top 3. Meanwhile, Carpenter is now all over the back of Coach Jun Cheon now then, who has been holding up a load of drivers today, it's fair to say. The Malaysian driver has now will approach the penultimate turn now then on the track. Is Carpenter going to get the move done on Coach on Cheong now then? Through the right-hander we will go, looking back at Denholm, who's now coming towards that right-hander. Is Carpenter having a look through to that right-hander? He thought about having a move. His Daniel Adventure going to try and re-overtake him here as a result and punish him for that, as he's in the slipstream of the Irishman. He's going to try and look to the inside, but I think Carpenter is just going to have enough slipstream off of Cheon to possibly stay in front, or can he? Because Adventure is still right there heading into the first corner. Adventure breaks that a little bit later, and he gets back up into 10th place. So Coach on Cheon proved to be a nightmare for both Adventure and Carpenter here.
Yeah, indeed.
Through into the section of corners as now we look at Brandon Jackson now, then he's just coming around left-hander now, then through to the penultimate turn goes Brandon Jackson. He'll soon be starting lap 32 of the race now then, as we look now at Cesar Cohen Jr. He's just coming around the section of corners now, then through into the left-hander now, then he'll go, as now just using quite a lot of curb on the outside. 15.6 seconds the gap between Jackson and Stepnika in this race. 1.2 now between Bracky and Chue meanwhile, so that gap is coming down quite massively for that fight for 4th position.
And Ionescu is going to be in the fight as well.
He's now 1.4 behind Chue, so we might have a three-way scrap here for 4th place brewing here between Bracky, Chue and Ionescu. Here they are, in fact, now, as Ionescu is on the back of these two as a result, as meanwhile Adventure and Carpenter are still stuck behind Coach on Cheong in this race, as we now look at Chue, who's trying all she can to close up onto Bartrish Bracky in front and try and get 4th. Of course, I mentioned this a little bit earlier on. Chue is still yet to score a point this season, and well, she's up here. She could get 4th here, which would really make up for what has been a tricky start to the season for her time at Envision Virgin Racing.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ionescu had a very difficult first stint. He was all the way down in 10th at some point, but now he's coming back and he gets sense of chance at 4th place.
Indeed, Kumar is in 7th place meanwhile. Just trying to have a look what that would mean for the Drivers' Championship at the moment. I think if it were to stay like this, Stepnika would actually take the lead in the championship, if I'm not mistaken. So,
by how many points?
Well, just trying to have a look, in fact. I think he would lead the championship by, I think, 5 points over Jaswant Kumar. So, yeah, that's how it will look, because Kumar is down in 7th at the moment, and Stepnika currently up in 2nd place at this stage at the moment, as we now look riding on board with Ross Denholm now then in the Venturi, sorry, in the Nissan. Obviously he was in the Venturi last season, he's in the Nissan.
Safe to say he's having a pretty quiet drive.
Yep, same. You could say the same for the top 2 as well. Meanwhile, Adventure now in 10th place, trying to attack Coach on Cheong again in their fight for 9th position as they go out of the Samsung corner now, then heading down towards Craig Jones now, then they will go. As meanwhile, 13.4 now, the gap is between the top 2 now then. As Adventure now then, trying to put Coach Chung under a lot of pressure. Carpenter watching on to see if anything happens between these two. And not too far behind, in fact, is Marvo Koenig, who's starting to close on these guys. So maybe points are still possible for the Andretti driver, as he's not too far behind that battle that's going on for 9th place at the moment.
Yes, indeed.
As now coming around turn 4. Now then we go. It's now Adventure again, being a bit impatient, trying to go for it into the final corner. But again, same story. Can't make it work. And, well, he's going to lose all the momentum.
Kumar's been Kumar has
Kumar-
overtaken Ionescu meanwhile.
In fact, yes, he has. He was actually... In fact, no, because Ionescu's got a problem. Ionescu's got engine failure. And powertrain failure for Roman Ionescu. And that is a retirement. There's no pit indicator. And Ionescu, who was in the fight for 4th place after what was a tricky first stint, is going to be out of the race.
What a shame. He really wanted a lot of points, but he's going to see his teammate win the race and himself walk home with absolutely nothing.
Indeed, and we talked about how he's determined to win the championship this season. Well, so far this season, it's not gone the way he was hoping. Ionescu out of the race, and we are down to, I think it's now 19 runners, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, what a shame.
A shame indeed, and yep, as a result, we are now down to 19 runners in this race. That puts Carpenter now into the points as a result. So even if he and Adventure do get Coach John Cheong, it won't, well, it will matter a little bit because it will mean more points, but at least Carpenter is in the points. And now Koenig is now 1 place away from the points as a result of Ionescu's retirement. And, well, so now it's just a two-way scrap, in fact, for 4th, or it could even be a three-way scrap because Kumar is actually not far behind them.
Yeah, indeed.
That would mean, as a result, I think Stepnica would actually now lead it by 3 points instead of 5 points ahead of Kumar as a result. So, that's that really. Is now we look at Jackson, and I wonder if he's started to be a little bit worried himself now, seeing his teammate on the side of the road there.
Yeah.
Through into turn 8 now then, through the Samson corner. We will go now then on the racetrack as they will now make their way down towards Craig Jones. They will go as we now look at Adventure. He's now on the back of Coach John Cheong. Can he get the move done? This time he's waited for turn 1 this time. But again, he just doesn't have the overlap. And Coach John, once again, doing a good job keeping these two back.
Yes, indeed.
Into turn 4 now, then we go. As now into turn 5. It will go up the hill. Sorry, turn 4. This is turn 4 now. It's now coming out of the turn, but Adventure not close enough to get Coach on this occasion as now make the way down towards the hairpin now. Then we will go as now into turn 5 we shall go as now the gap 17.4 seconds now between the top two as we look at Tobler, who's actually made a mistake there through into turn 1 and has got Razin all over the back. So in fact Razin obviously he pitted early on for damage, but he's now starting to make his way up through the field, but I guess a little bit too late in this race for him to do anything to the points hold.
Yeah, indeed.
Heading down towards the hairpin now, then we will go, as now we look at Adventure, trying his best to get a hold of Coach Chun Cheon now then. In that car, they now come around turn number 11 there, and then through, sorry, turn 12 that is, this is turn 13, and there is Koenig, who's now right on the back of that scrap for what is going on now for 9th place, as now coming around turn 6 and then into turn 7 and 8, we will soon approach, as now we look at Denhold, 2.4 seconds now behind Stepnica, as Rob said a little bit earlier. I think he's just now just cruising to the finish, as now we look at Coach Chun Cheong is now under pressure again from Daniel Adventure. Can Adventure get the Malaysian driver this time by? He's going to try and look to the inside, but he's just not got enough straight line speed to get a hold of that Adventuri, and as a result, the Mercedes is going to have to hang back again. He's really struggling to pass the Malaysian driver at the moment now, then as they come out of the first corner.
Yeah, that's right.
As now they come around turn number 3 now then, and then through into turn 4 we shall go now then, as 1.2 seconds now the gap between those two at the moment, and yet we are down to 19 runners as a result of Ionescu's retirement. As now they come down towards the hairpin now, then we will go as the gap is 18.2 seconds between himself and Brandon Jackson, who's just down in front, dominating the race at the moment, as now they come out on the right hander. 5 laps to go for race leader Brandon Jackson, as he's just started lap 36 of 40 here at Portimao. Meanwhile, we've got a fight for going on here now then, as we've got Bracky and Chue fighting it out for P4 now then in this race, as they now go up the hill towards the left-hander now then, as Chue can sense P4 in this race, as Razan gets up to 16th past Tobler. Meanwhile, a little bit further down the field, as now coming around the penultimate corner, we will go on the racetrack now, then coming towards the final corner now then, we will go on the racetrack. Is Shana Choi going to get the move done here on the Barges Bracky now then, out of the final turn and onto the pitch.
Here we go.
Now then on the inside, has she got the move done on the Venturi drivers that go side by side down towards the first corner? Has the South Korean driver got the move done? Heading down towards the first corner, Choi on the inside. Has she pulled the move off? Yes, she has. Sana Choi up into 4th position. What a drive she's had today.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Kumar might be getting close as well.
While Adventure once again trying to attack Coach Chon Cheon for 8th place, but again, same story, just doesn't have the straight line speed to get the move done. As meanwhile, down the inside goes Marvo Koenig on Carpenter, and he's into the points. Marvo Koenig up into 10th place. He's had an amazing comeback in this race, and he's now into the points paying positions.
Yeah, this is the brilliant drive for him.
Into turn number 4, then we go. Looks like Carpenter is now dropping back from Koenig as a result of that. As now, as you can see, Choi is now starting to pull away from Barches Bracky now then, and I wonder if Kumar is actually going to close up to Bracky very soon in these 4 and a bit laps remaining in this race. 4 laps to go now, I should say, for Brandon Jackson. He's just started lap 37 of the race now then, heading down towards the hairpin now then. We will go as we ride on board with, not sure who that was we were riding on board with, to be honest with you, is Ross Denholm just coming around the penultimate corner, using a bit of curb on the outside, as now into the final corner goes Denholm, as meanwhile Adventure, looks like he went a little bit deep there, through into that right-hander, as he tries everything to pass Coach Chon Cheong's Venturi in this race, but Coach Chung is just not backing down at this race. Just looking at the number of places gained, Nguyen Minh Quan, another driver to praise as well, gaining 11 places from his original grid spot. Started in 18th, a good race for him today indeed, to get up into 7th place. 9 places gained for Koenig there, 6 for Jackson, 2 for Stepnika, 7 for Choi, a good job for her, 3 for Kumar. As mentioned, Coach Chon Cheong has stayed where he is, as Denholm and Bracky have dropped 2 places from their original grid spot, as Jackson is actually coming up to some traffic now right in front of him. So Jackson's going to have a little bit of traffic to deal with at the end of this race. As coming around turn 7 now then, we will go as now into the Samsung corner. We will go on the racetrack, as now coming out of turn 8 we go, using a lot of curb on the a bit of curb on the outside, as they now head down towards turn 9. As Leighton Aviard is trying to gain onto Kochi Cheong meanwhile, as just trying to see what's going on between Bracky and Kumar meanwhile, their gaps at the moment, and it's 5 tenths between them, so we have got a fight for 5th place brewing now between Bracky and Kumar now then, so looks like Kumar could gain another place here and make the gap only 1 point between himself and Stepnika. Meanwhile, that is Dumel getting by there on Cass Morgan, who has definitely gone backwards after an amazing qualifying session, but it's all just gone horribly wrong for the Mahindra driver, and now he's down in last position.
Short break, I'll be right back.
Okay, as now come out of that turn, as we now look at Stepnika. What is going on between Kumar and Bracky meanwhile? That is a fight for 5th place that is going on at the moment, and that could determine how much Stepnika takes the lead in the championship by. So Bracky's still ahead of Kumar at the moment, but I think they're coming up towards... where are they, in fact? Are they at the penultimate turn, or have they just come out of the final corner? I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah, they're fighting for 5th place in this race now then. And, in fact, Bracky can feel the pressure from Kumar as a result. And Kumar not able to get it. In fact, Kwan is actually not far behind these two either. So even Kwan could even gain another place before the end of the race. As now up the hill through into turn number 4 we go now. Then looks like... Kumar did not get the best traction. There we go, yeah, flag out of an older corner, and it's Nguyen. Hyman Nguyen is out of the race. That is a mechanical failure, and specifically, it's a gearbox issue that has taken care of Hyman Nguyen. I think he will be classified anyway, because he has done 90% of the race distance. But Hyman Nguyen out of the race, and his miserable season continues here at Portimao, as meanwhile Jackson is about to start the penultimate lap of the race very soon. He's just passed when Nguyen's car is. Meanwhile, Koenig is trying to put Adventure under a bit of pressure as they were fighting for 9th. In fact, Carpenter is also right with him as well. Jackson starts the penultimate lap of the race here at Portimao as they come around the double right-hander now then through turn 7 and then into the Samson corner now then. We will go on the racetrack as Jackson now then on the penultimate lap as mentioned, as they now come around the turns 3 and 4 corner now then. we will go as now coming down towards the hairpin now. Then we will go as meanwhile it looked like Kumar was actually not close enough there on that occasion to get a hold of Bracky. I might be wrong on that. And yeah, he's just a little bit too far back. Same with Kwan on Kumar, in fact. As Jackson just puts a lap there on Rafael Demel. Meanwhile. And so at the moment, 1.1 seconds the gap between Adventure and Koenig, meanwhile, in their fight for 9th place, as Coach on Gion doing a good job holding those cars back at the moment. Clearly that car set up perfectly down the straight today here at Portimao. As Stepnica, looks like it's going to be the championship lead for him at the end of this race, which you'll be pretty happy about. He's still yet to achieve a victory this season. He's Jacob Stepnica, but him leading the championship, that will definitely put a smile on his face, I'm pretty sure, as he's just making his way through into the Craig Jones corner now then, and now into the double right-hander of Portimao. We shall go through turn 11 now, then we go, as now heading down the hill through into the left-hander now then, as the gap 3.9 seconds between Chway and Bracky at the moment. So yeah, Bracky's just dropping back at the moment. Kumar is up there with him, but whether he can get him at the end of the race, we shall wait and see, of course. And meanwhile, Brandon Jackson is about to start his final lap. Nguyen retiring from the race, that's it.
Okay.
As Jackson now then starts the final lap of the race here at Portimao, and you have to say, Rob, it has just been, since he took the lead, just a dominant display from him.
Yeah, he's had incredible pace. I don't know where he pulled that sort of pace from, but he's been brilliant. And yeah, what else can I say? He's my teammate, so I have to pretend to be happy when he wins. But he's done very well.
Yeah, indeed. As now Jackson just comes around turn 5 now, then for the 40th and final time. He can just essentially cruise to the finish, really. He doesn't need to worry too much at the moment. He's just trying to bring this car home to the finish. As now coming around the double right-hander now, then we will go. As now coming around Samsung corner, using a bit of curb on the outside as they make their way down the hill towards Craig Jones corner now, then we will go. Now through the left-hander. And now into the double right-hander now, then we shall go on the racetrack now then, as they come out of the 11th turn now then, now through inside, through to turn 12 now then for the 40th and final time. And for Brandon Jackson, it's just been the perfect race for him. Didn't get the best of qualifying, but definitely had brilliant race pace today, and he is well and truly going to deserve this victory today. He is going to become, I think, the 4th different winner this season as well for the 4th different team, so that's something to worth note about. But anyway, around the final corner for the 40th and final time, and after a dominant display, it is going to be Brandon Jackson who wins the Portimao ePrix here at Portimao. A good result, and he even gets the fastest lap of the race for good measure, 140.779. A dominant performance. As I just saw at the bottom there, Koenig has got 9th of Adventure, so Koenig looks like he's going to get two championship points in this race landing. Jacob Stepnica finishes in 2nd place, another podium for the Czech driver, and I think he's going to take the lead in the championship. As a result, Ross Denholm will cross the line in 3rd. It will put him back into the fight as a result of what has been a tricky start to the season for the Scotsman after his victory at Sao Paulo. But P3 for him, he'll be satisfied with that one. Sana Choi, at long last, is going to score points this season after a disappointing start to the season. A tricky start, I should say. Sana Choi is going to finish in 4th position. A brilliant drive for her, and she'll be absolutely ecstatic with that. Jaswant Kumar got 5th. He passed Bracky somewhere on the tracks, and Kumar is actually going to be 1 point behind Stepnica in the championship. Bracky just holds on to 6th. Kwan finishes in 7th. Coach Chung Chiang, great defensive driving. He's going to cross the line in 8th position. So P8 going the way of the Malaysian drivers. So double points again for Venturi, as Koenig just holds on to 9th from Adventure in the end. Adventure gets the final point in 10th. Carpenter is in 11th. Kochi Cheon, not the best race for him. He's going to finish the race in 12th position. Leighton Aviard crosses the line in 13th. Cesar Cohen Jr. will cross the line in 14th. His best result, I think, in this series, but still not points for him at the moment, as Mohamed Razan, a disappointing race for him after the damage he sustained on lap 1. He's going to finish in 15th. He did gain some places towards the end of the race, but it's not good enough for points whatsoever. So Razin crosses the line in 15th, and that's the race done with Brandon Jackson, your 4th different winner with 4th different team of the season. So great result for him. and I think that puts him right into the title fight as a result of that. So here is the final results then. Brandon Jackson wins the race with Javier Stepnica, the new championship leader, I believe, in second place, with Ross Denno in third, Sana Chue, a fantastic drive in fourth, with Jaswant Kumar in fifth, Barchis Braki in sixth, Nguyen Minh Quan is in seventh, with Coach Chun Chion in eighth, Marvo Koenig in ninth, with Daniel Adventure completing the points in 10th, Owen Carpenter is in 11th, and you can do the rest, Rob.
Sure, Kok Jie Chung is in 12th, followed by Leighton Havyard. Cesar Cohen Jr. is in 14th, followed by Mohamed Razin. Then a lap down, it is Jakub Tobola, Rafael Dumoulin, and Cas Morgan. Juan Nguyen was also classified. And the retirements are Ionescu, Newerville, and Dechele.
Yep, and the fastest lap of the race is, well, that's the wrong thing you clicked on there, but the fastest lap of the race goes to Brandon Jackson. So along with the 25 points he'll get for a victory, he also gets the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap. So 27 points going the way of Brandon Jackson today. Well, there you have it then. That has been it from the Portimao ePrix here at Portimao. A very, very good race indeed. And, well, this championship is definitely shaking up to be quite an exciting one indeed. But that has been it then, guys. Of course, we're not done with live streams, of course, because coming up later on at 7 p.m. GMT, we will have the F2 qualifying session over at Barcelona. Rob will obviously be there for the commentary for that, so do look forward to that. But, of course, the next Formula E race will be in 2 weeks' time, and it will be still at Portugal, but this time for the Lisbon ePrix at the Estoril circuit. So, look forward to that, of course. Of course, this week we obviously have 2 action, as I mentioned as well, but also top-class action over at Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix. And, of course, we have DTM this weekend at the Dijon Pueno circuit, so do look forward to that. World Champ Car is, of course, on next Monday as well, taking place at Interlagos, the first ever time they'll be racing around there. So, yeah, some exciting stuff for them. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97, he's been Rob, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.